You're listening to the Fantasy Hockey Pucks podcast.
Yeah, how's
We're not dropping on the podcast, bro. That's crazy. That's actually... What? Bro, why are you reading it?
I'd have no issues with it personally.
We need to talk business now. Let's drop the puck. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Fantasy Hockey Pucks episode 107 underway here. I'm your host, Antonio Capos, alongside Ben Rutledge. And first of all, I'd like to apologize. We are going to be releasing this later in the night, so it's technically not like a full day delayed, but we like to get them out to you like in that morning period so that you can have the whole day to listen to them. But alas, it's going to be coming out a few hours late today because, well, it's exam times and we just got to fit them in where we can if we're going to be truly honest.
Yeah, you know, Tony and I both had an exam today. So last night just wasn't an option. Generally, I don't know. I haven't looked forward, but at least for me, it won't be an issue moving forward. So we should be fine there. So yeah, but sorry for about the 12-hour delay or so on this one. But yeah, let's get into it. We have an electric hook for this episode. I'll let our host pitch it, but all right. I'm a big fan of it.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up. Ready? So it's from Mbon Mike Bartner on X. If you'd like to go and comment on it yourself, the prompt is: who is the NHL's Dynasty starts after you player right now? For those unfamiliar with the term, in the NBA, it was the Thunder moving off the ball dominant Giddy for a much better fit in Alex Caruso.
I would say another like comp to that is the Panthers trading away kind of more like Jonathan Huberdeau, who operated more on the edges, was a more playmaker who wasn't necessarily that dog, for Matthew Tkachuk, who's that dog, and immediately took him to 3 straight cup finals. I feel like that's just kind of for more hockey fans. That's what we're thinking along the lines. We got some good ones, and we actually had a very heated pre-episode discussion about this exact thing. So we'll get into that a little bit, but yeah.
I feel like my thing is like, my vision of this is like, okay, the team's not that great before the trade happens, and then it becomes like a true contender or like dynasty team.
See, that's where I disagree with you. I think it's a team that's already a true contender right now, because if we're talking dynasty, there's a reason there hasn't been a dynasty put in the NHL Hall of Fame since the Islanders in the 80s.
I mean, yeah, but
like,
look at that.
There's a reason
the Panthers before
the Huberdeau trade
were the Panthers before the Huberdeau trade were a wild card team. Same with
no, but they weren't. They won the President's Trophy. They won the President's Trophy, and then the year after they traded him, they were a wild card team. The first year they had Tkachuk, they barely made the playoffs, beat you guys who are the best team of all time in the first round. And that was it. And then they just never stopped losing pretty much for the next 3 years.
Yeah, beating.
So it was like they were already they were literally considered like one of the best teams. Who had like 120 points the year they traded him.
Yeah, and then he became.
And then he like that's why I'm like really. So Antonio I'll let you say who you had.
I'll get into it.
But it was sort of disagree because I feel like it's got to be. There's only about 5 or 6 teams in my opinion right now who fit this bill, who like are one player being traded away from being that good, which is why basically where I disagree with Antonio essentially. But okay, well he goes. The first one I have is the first one that came out for me was Darnell Nurse. I feel the Oilers just made back-to-back cups. It was pretty evident if you were really paying attention at the deadline that they were very hamstrung by the fact that they didn't have any cap space and didn't really have anyone they could move to clear cap space. So Henrique wouldn't waive his no-move clause. They allegedly never talked to Nurse. And so they were kind of stuck with making the moves they did, which is getting Dickinson and Colton Dach and Connor Murphy and kind of doing more around the edges. Whereas I felt if they had been able to move Nurse and get that $9 million, you don't have to trade away a first to get rid of Mangiapane because you're not that desperate. You could just hold him at worst comes to worst, or you probably could have been able to negotiate less of a expensive deal by moving him because you wouldn't have had to because you had a $9 million more. Then you're in the I'm trying to think back who are some of the big names as well, but then you're in the Trocheck conversation as your 2C and you move Draisaitl up to McDavid's wing. You're into those conversations because you have the money to get it and still the assets because you aren't overselling. So that one I feel is a little different because it's more about the money and less about the fact that like Nurse is a good player, just not a good fit. But I felt like that was the most immediate one because I think the Oilers with $9 million could do a lot to fix that forward core, especially, and goaltending too.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that. I feel like my only
issue
when we were first arguing about this, my only issue was like, well, Nurse isn't really like that guy. Like he's not even a top 4 defenseman for them right now. Like he's the number 5.
For sure. That's why I started playing it because that was a good point that you make. That like this is also, I would say, a little bit of an asterisk because it's not the purpose of it. Like Josh Giddey was still a really good player for OKC when he was on.
Yeah, he was like the guy that
Nurse
the ball
is not
touching the ball was touching his hands most of the time. It would be like if you traded like your power play defense.
Second most. They still had Shea. But yes.
Okay, yeah.
But yes. All right, who's your first? I have 2 more. Not gonna lie. One of them taking someone else's idea, and then one was one was another one that I thought of.
So yeah, mine is this one. I'm gonna die on this hill, and like we've argued this back and forth, so I don't want to like draw it out too much. But I think it's Linus Ullmark for the Ottawa Senators. The reason I like kind of pulled up the stats is because I had already like put all this stuff together, and I felt like it was pretty organized. But the Ottawa Senators, 5th most high danger chances in the NHL. They spend the 3rd least amount of time in their defensive zone. They spend the 2nd most time in the offensive zone. The players on the ice are containing the play. They're playing where they want to play. They're playing a very high level of hockey. And yet we see them as a second wildcard team right now. Actually, I don't know if they're currently still in the second wildcard.
Yeah,
they might have fallen out.
No. They're winning tonight and they have a lead already. Like they're low key. If they win tonight and win their next game, it's probably over. Like the East wildcard race is low key over.
But what has been very inconsistent this year has been goaltending. Linus Ullmark been struggling, has not been in the 900s since I think the first month of hockey. He's been sitting around like 870 to 890 range throughout the season. And Merrill Linen's not been any better. I mean, he's the younger guy at his first season. He's a rookie. So
no, he played last year.
He
played a decent amount last year. Like 10 games, I think, last year.
Yeah, so he still has
I know. But I'm saying he did play a decent amount last year.
Yeah. But yeah, like young guy, lots of potential, but just not it right now. And so Ullmark really hasn't had a guy to depend upon. Like we've seen him play his best hockey when he's had somebody else in net, like a new Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen or like a Swayman to help him out. But yeah, he's just not been good, and he's costing them $8.25 a year. And so my argument here is like goalies probably have the biggest effect on the team after the first, like the 1C. And so if you get in a guy that's like a top 15, top 10 goalie in his place, which is probably what you get for that money, like an $8 million goalie is probably around there. That's what like Swayman, I'm pretty sure Ottinger is making around there.
Yeah, Sorokin.
Yeah. So like that's exactly what you're getting for that. And I think that propels them from a team that's a wildcard team to very much like a 1-2 team in their division and making serious cup runs.
See, this is where I disagree with you. Also, I feel like this is the exact same argument as Nurse. You're basically saying remove a bad player who's making a lot of money and you can fill holes elsewhere. So I feel
No. Different argument, because I'm saying you need to fix what his issue is, because he's not like Nurse's his role is 5th defenseman. That doesn't have a huge role over the team. Starting goaltender has a huge role and impact on the team.
Fair. Can I read you 2 blind resumes? And I want you to, okay?
Okay.
51 games played, 32 wins, 12 losses, 4 overtime losses, 261 goals against average, 899 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Okay. 48 games played, 26 wins, 12 losses, 7 overtime losses, 278 goals against average, 888 save percentage, 2 shutouts.
Okay.
Player 1, Jake Ottinger. Player 2, Linus Ullmark.
Okay.
Those stats, like 278 to 261, 899 to 888. Like, given where he started, given that I'm pretty sure through like 20 games, Ullmark was like 865.
That's the difference between like a 900 and 910.
Yes, but my point is you're not talking about Ottinger like that, and his stats aren't that much better than Ullmark's, who you're saying is
I'm saying an 899 to an 888 is a pretty big difference.
But like, yes and no, but go look at Ullmark's last games, dog. Like, he's just been good.
He's not been good recently.
All right, his last 10, 913, 913, 857, 943, 925, 688, 955, 826, 893, 933, and he has a shutout through 2 periods tonight.
Yeah, so like
those are his last 10 games.
Yeah, 4 or 5 games.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there's a 600.
He had 5 games above 900, and then he had 1, 2, 3 in the 800s. Then one really bad one, 688 against Florida. He got pulled. He was horrible in that game.
Yeah.
But he's pitching a shutout tonight. Like I would say if he shuts out Tampa Bay tonight, that cancels the 688 by getting the shutout. And then it's like he has a bunch of 850s or 930s. Like he has 3 850s and 5 930s in his last 10.
He's also been he just also has not been available for his team for a good amount of the season, which is the
but
reason.
He's played 3 less games than Jake Ottinger. That's why I read games played too.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he's played 3. But my point is that
the Stars haven't needed to overplay Ottinger because they're such a good team. The Sens have needed that play out of Allmark, and they haven't got it because he's had to be away for various reasons, including he had to miss a game against Tampa, which would have been a huge game for them interdivisional, just because he wasn't ready to go. It wasn't an injury. He just couldn't go. And I'm not going to take the time for mental health. That's
fair. But by the you're just fair. But I would say based on how you're pitching it, it is costing you almost a first-round pick to get rid of Allmark. Because $8 million for multiple more years, if the Oilers were to move Nurse, it's a first plus to get rid of Nurse. I think they're aware of it, which is why they haven't done it. And I think Allmark is the same thing.
I don't think you need to pay a first to get rid of him. If you send him to almost you could send him to an Edmonton.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because, Edmonton, it wouldn't work because they don't have anywhere near the money. But I don't think so. I actually think the way he's been playing recently, I'm actually totally fine if Ottawa's we're rolling next year with Allmark as our starter again. We're going to look to find a more serviceable backup.
That's what.
And I also think that Allmark very much could come back next year and look the exact same he did last year for Ottawa because goalies are bipolar as hell, and they year over year carry there's not that much weight year over year to how well they play. And if he is a 909 and 272 next year, there's no complaints. And he takes him to the playoffs, as the 3 seed in the division, no one's complaining about that next year.
That's true.
And if you look at his career, nowhere has he ever been this bad. So I think, in my opinion, I actually think it's a bad move if Otto trades him away. Look at Edmonton. They can't go find a goalie, right? You're giving up a guy who's, I guarantee you, Edmonton would rather him over both the guys they have. And you'd be looking to get rid of him. And you're also arguing that they are better off by doing so. We're going to end it here, but end this conversation here. But I just don't see the Sens being that good. You could give them Ottinger, and I don't think they're that good personally. I just don't see the team. That team just it ain't it for me. I don't think they're a cup contending team, even if you give them an elite goalie. They're definitely a top 3 team in their division if you give them a better goalie than what Allmark's doing. I just personally don't see them being an upper echelon cup contender with a better goalie because I don't think their roster's good enough. I think Brady Tkachuk's overrated. I think Stützle, we've seen one playoff series out of him, so it's hard to say, but he fits the archetype perfectly of a player who's not going to show up in the playoffs. Batherson was horrible in the playoffs last year.
I think those are some strong takes there.
No, really, you're going to say Stützle, who's known for diving, the guy who's literally been fined the most for diving since PK Subban left the league. The guy who gets hit some awkward way, and you see him throwing his stick and pouting on the bench like Mitch Marner. Dude, this guy, and I'm just saying, based on entirely stereotypes, is built as one of the most one of those guys that ain't it in the playoffs. Now Brady's the opposite for sure, and Sanderson's a dog. But that's just not enough for me. There's too many holes throughout the roster for me to be they have Ridley Gregg on their second line and they have Claude Giroux on their first. Really, you're telling me that Ridley Gregg and Claude Giroux are second and first line players, regardless of whether you the other two are fine. Because I think Batherson, Stützle, Brady, and Cousins are very fitting. But
moves can't fix that.
I get that, but I get the point is we're talking about one move. If you're saying they need a whole offseason of moves, this doesn't fit this question.
I mean, you were saying that Darnell Nurse moving him, it would free up cap space to make other moves. So that also would.
Fair. Okay. Let me give you my second one. Mason McTavish. If you move, but also keep in mind, the Panthers got Kachuk back. The OKC added Caruso. Like, obviously, you're replacing someone in that role. First of all, so to say that like the whole thing in his thing, it said for the much better fit in Caruso. Like, obviously, you're going to replace him with someone. And I think I use Vincent Trocheck as the guy because I think they have the assets to go get Trocheck if you move Nurse. And so I'll use Trocheck. I think Trocheck on that, to have your top 6 be Dry, McDavid, Savoie, Hyman, Trocheck, and RH. That's your top 6. Bro, that's disgusting.
It's true. I mean, there's a reason that they've gone to the cup in back-to-back years.
And you're not even putting a top 4 defenseman on the team.
Yeah. It's true.
All right. Anyway, I thought Mason, just a little honorable mention because we spent a really long time on this, but I thought Mason McTavish is another one that I had that I thought was a very good fit. He's not working out in Anaheim. I think they need another 2C in there, and they have prospects. They have Roger McQueen, who's a center. They definitely have others, so I can't think of right now. Including other players even on their team. They have Mikael Granlund next year. He could very much be their 2C for next year. And Roger McQueen is their 3C. I think having people play in those minutes is way more important than McTavish, who clearly isn't working. Now, granted, this is not to shit on McTavish and say I don't think he's it. I just think it ain't working out in Anaheim. He needs a new fit, and he really needs to go to a team who's going to covet him and be like, listen, we're going to give you the chance to be the 1C for the year, which Anaheim, they're good. So they can't be doing that anymore. But yeah, I think he's a very clear fit. And if you're able to go get a better defenseman, or even if you move him for Vincent Trocheck and say, hey, New York, how much more do we need to add with McTavish for Trocheck? I think that's an unreal move.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I
have no issue with that.
I don't think it would be that much more for
Trocheck. I don't disagree. I think
for Thomas, it would be a little more.
I agree. What, McTavish a first in 2 seconds? Are they for Trocheck?
Dude. McTavish.
No, he's making $7 million, bro. He's making a lot.
Oh, okay. He's making more than I thought.
He's on a big boy deal now. He's made for 5 more years. I think that's why he's not a negative asset.
On the other hand, he's a good amount. On the other hand, he's a good chunk younger. And if they're in retool mode or they're in
that's why. But yeah, but it would. That's why. It would cost more. You're going to ask for more than McTavish in a first. Because I think Anaheim would be understanding they probably have to give up more than that. So that's why.
Or it could just be McTavish and Minyakov.
Also, could be something like that for sure. Where Anaheim's you'll take our struggling guy, we'll give you 2 struggling prospects, and you give us just a 2C stud behind Leo.
Yeah,
which would be nasty. But yeah, that was the other one I had. More fitting the bill of they just need a better 2C than him, but he could still be someone who gets Giddy, very much like Giddy. It's not he's necessarily a negative asset. He just ain't it on this team anymore.
Yeah, I think. And it was just kind of a weird year for the West this year, but I do think that some teams going to make it just a splash.
They're going to be better. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but also they're.
I think just everybody was
these West teams. I would say that Anaheim is probably just going to naturally be better. I would say Utah's going to naturally be better. I would say San Jose is going to naturally be better, and so you get less of the. But there's a flip side for some of these teams. I think are going to be worse. But anyway. There's a lot of teams that just naturally, even if they don't make splash moves, will be better.
Agreed. All right. Well, I think we're good on this. Now, are you happy with where we're at? All right. Well, let's get it. If you guys haven't noticed, we started with the intro today. We're getting into a bit of a different kind of template for our episodes, and I think it makes more sense flow wise. But yeah, let's get back into it. Let's talk about what's been happening in our personal life. How have you been, man?
I've been good. Pretty big, monumental moment for me over the weekend. I signed my first big boy contract at an internship downtown. We'll just leave it that vague. It includes an access pass. It includes got to show up in a suit every day. So I'm excited. It's obviously big for me and good for my career outside of podcasting, to be getting the jobs, but I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, as Antonio mentioned, wrapped up exam 1 of 5 this afternoon. I got a 5-day break till my next one now. So just kind of got to get in a good routine of studying, but happy to be done that. And honestly ready to catch up FHP because I've been like putting off sports and everything because I have that first exam. But with me now having almost a week till my next one, like I'm actually excited to get back into FHP and back into the Instagram consistently because I'll hand accountability own that I've been a little lacking on that recently.
Very fair. I mean, it's exam season. Like we're all going to get slacking a little bit. I posted like 7 TikToks and I've done basically fuck all else. So, I mean, to be fair, I do edit the episodes, so I feel like that has to be.
Yes, very true. Very true. Like that's definitely noteworthy amount of work. Don't worry.
But yeah, I also, as we said, finished my first exam today. Yesterday, the McMaster Choir, which I'm in, one of the section leaders. We sang with the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra in the Canadian premiere of a like 25-minute song, which was kind of insane. Definitely not something like the average listener would enjoy. Like, I don't know that I even enjoyed it, but like there was a lot of composers in the room from like around the world doing like international premieres of other songs after us. So it's pretty cool to like have them listen to us. And yeah, we pre-gamed it a little bit. We went to down on lock, had a couple beers, got her going, got the pipes warm. You know how it is. And then also we had the athletic banquet at Mac yesterday. And the McMaster rugby team won the community service award for our Movember movement in November. Go check out. There's a link in my Instagram account if you guys want to contribute to that. I'll bring it back up again next November, but that was pretty big for the boys as well. And so good vibes going into exam number 2.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Good shit. And the Leafs are getting pumped 5-2. Even better good shit. It's a big dub for the Islanders, so that's actually more why I mentioned it. But that's good.
Wait,
good for Mac.
Wait, a win? Like you guys, somebody in the wild card race knows how to get a win?
That isn't currently in the playoffs?
No,
I know.
The Boston Bruins could not. The Boston Bruins simply could not get a win.
Ottawa could because Allmark's pitching a shutout, dog.
Dude, I can't. I've never seen somebody get. Actually, like we'll talk about hockey later. Let's keep her going.
Yeah, you got any other life updates for us, Mr. Capos?
I'm selling a pearl necklace.
Will mail it to you. Yep. Will shipping included.
Yep. A little insider for the boys there. You know. But yeah, nothing else aside from that, really.
All right, beautiful. Let's get into the sports update. All right, so let's begin with the MLB. Starting with my favorite team and Tony's favorite team, the Toronto Blue Jays are absolutely decimated by injury right now. They have an entire starting rotation on the injury list with Jose Barrios, Shane Bieber, Trey Savage, Cody Ponce, and who's the other guy? There's someone else. Anyway, that are all on the injured list at the moment. I think Max Scherzer. They've just been destroyed. Their team was hit by a flu bug. They played a bunch of bad teams and lost a bunch of games, to be honest, to a bunch of bad teams because they've been super, super injured and super sick. So let's stay calm, Blue Jays Nation. All right. Like we're still a nasty team. There's way too many Leaf fans over there watching the Jays right now and being like, oh my gosh, like we sucked 10 games into an 162 game season. It's like, bro, we're in April. Like if like you
Wait,
don't
what's their record right now? Because I know they had a hot start.
They won their first series. They swept the A's, and then they didn't win another game. And they won one game against the Rockies, the one of 2, and then they got swept by the White Sox and lost the first 2 or 3, and then they finally beat the Dodgers. And so I think they're 4-7. But anyway, getting into injury issues, which has become a real problem across all of baseball. And it's very common. If you look at the soft tissue muscle injuries in the months of April and May are like 120% more likely than any other month of the season. And that's because the players get just simply babied in spring training. They play like 2 innings of a game. They aren't out in the field. They aren't fielding ground balls. So the second they start to go out there and play ball, they play baseball, they got to run the bases. They got to be running around in the outfield every day. They injure stuff. They pull stuff. And I think the Jays are just as bad at this as any other team. So like, this is not to say that like the Jays are better, but like every team I feel just needs to play their players more. If you look in the NHL, when you play a game, you don't play the first period and say, I'm good, sub me out. Like you play the whole game. In the NFL, they do that, but that's also a little different because like the risk of injury in one game, the NFL is so massively high that it's not worth it.
Well,
but
like smashing bodies all the time. Like
exactly. Like
it's
in baseball,
from,
like
running the bases.
all they're asking you to do is to be able to have to maybe stop on a dime and go back to a base on a tag up, or run and make a diving catch in the outfield. Like pretty routine stuff your body be doing, even just on the regular. And they're just simply getting hurt because they're not doing that. And I think that's something that they need to take a look at.
I don't understand like why. Like before that reason, I understand why it's not like that taxing on your body to like you could go like 75% and play the full game at like 75%. You don't need to be all out sprinting. Like it's not the fucking World Series. We don't need to see you like
listen, pitches are a little different because kind of like baseball, like that the motion of throwing a pitch, like that definitely is a very high risk of injury at any moment. So obviously they're doing that stuff, but like the pitchers aren't necessarily the ones who get hurt. And also they get hurt the same likelihood all the way through the year. Cause like you tweak something weird in your elbow or shoulder, you're going to miss a bunch of time because if you just keep pushing through it, you do injure yourself very easily. And so like pitcher injuries are much more common, but this is purely like players should not be like professional $200 million athletes. Juan Soto should not be popping their hamstring in April because they didn't do spring training hard enough. Like that's not good enough in my opinion. All right, keep her going. Agreed. The LA Dodgers, New York Yankees, and Cincinnati Reds are absolutely popping off. All teams that have 2 or less losses so far in the season, 2 or 3 losses so far in the season. Sorry. Everyone else, though, doing varying degrees of mid. Like there's no team who has like 1 win or 2 wins. Like every team overall is relatively close to 500. Yes, including you, Colorado Rocky, Miami Marlins, Sacramento A, and Washington National fans. Your teams aren't ass yet. And Chicago White Sox, good on you. You're going to enjoy it. Notable hitters absolutely cooking. Ben Rice of the Yankees, Jordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros, Andy Pages of the LA Dodgers, and rookie Sal Stewart of the Cincinnati Reds all are on fire. Continuing on the pitching side, Bryce Elder, Shohei Ohtani, and Eduardo Rodriguez, all starters who have yet to surrender a run, although I actually did do this last night. And Shohei surrendered a run to Toronto as I was doing this. And Eduardo Rodriguez is actually pitching right now. I don't know what he's doing, but he's pitching right now against the Mets. So he could have given up a run, but still, the fact that like through multiple starts, these starters, Elder is through 3 and yet to give up a run for the Braves. So that's massive. Sandy Alcantara, Miami Marlins fans, you're happy because that just means that's more prospects you're getting back when you eventually trade him. Michael Wacha and Taj Bradley and Max Fried are amongst other starters absolutely on fire. Sandy Alcantara has pitched 3 games. He's thrown 7, 9, and 8 2/3 in those 3 games. So he's almost thrown 2 straight. He almost threw 2 straight complete games. Buddy's on absolute fire. And that's all I got for the baseball update.
Excellent. I mean, I understood about like 60% of that. So that's good, I guess.
That's pretty good.
I've been watching a little bit more.
Probably not like Shohei and
let's return to some college action, shall we? Because we haven't talked about
definitely shall. We definitely shall.
Feel like we like honorable mention March Madness in here because
I mean, it was on Monday. The finals, Michigan versus UConn, wrapped up on Monday. It was an unbelievable game. Michigan was up like pretty much 8 for the whole game. And like that's all it was. Like Michigan got up 8 early and we're pretty much up 8 for most of the game. UConn got it to like 4 or 5 a few times, but Elliot Cadeau, man, who actually just officially announced he's returning to Michigan, their lead point guard, just absolutely went off, hit like 3 straight massively clutch and ones down the stretch. As well, they hit a massive deep 3, almost right where UConn hit the 3 to eliminate Duke in that crazy game. Hit like almost the exact same shot with like a minute and a half left. That was basically the dagger. And yeah, massive for me because by Michigan winning in Antonio and I's bracket challenge that gave me the dub. Antonio, I think, actually had more predicted. Hey, Morgan Riley just scored. Antonio, I believe, had more predicted games correct than me, but based on our scoring, I just got more right in the later rounds, and so was able to get the dub.
Yeah, I basically cooked in the first round and then got cooked after that. So
yep. And I kind of just did mid all the way through, but the team I had winning won, and that was enough. Which is actually the first. That's actually only the second. I've been doing March Madness for over a decade now, and that is only the second time that I've predicted the winner correct. So
Well, I felt like kind of an idiot because out of the teams that were like supposed to make it far, I didn't know, like, this is part of me not knowing ball knowledge. Like, I didn't know UConn had been there to the finals, like 3 out of the last.
Bro, their stat, that's actually by us
so.
beating them. They would have, their stat of like the last 8 tournaments they've made, they either lost in the first 2 rounds or won it. If they'd won that, it would have been like 3-5, I think, or 4-4. Like they won it 4 times and lost 4 times, or I think it was won it 3, lost 5, something like that. But still something crazy. So continuing on the college talk, a little bit of a Frozen 4 update. So the games are underway. We're underway throughout the course of today. Wisconsin versus North Dakota in the first semifinals has already gone to the final.
Yeah.
Wisconsin beat North Dakota 2-1 to get to the finals, and Michigan currently playing Denver. It is just started. It is in the first period, and Denver is up 1-0 early, or about halfway through that first period there. So I actually don't even remember my bracket, but I'm
cooked. I remember North Dakota winning it all being my only chance of winning.
Well, actually, I remember because I only had Michigan left because I didn't have either Wisconsin or Nodak in the game there. So like that game was irrelevant to me, but I did have both Michigan and Denver in that spot. So if Michigan wins and then wins the whole thing, although I think I already beat you because I was doing better than you already. Yeah.
I'm cooked.
Yeah. Granted, that was 100% luck because, like, listen, I done made a little bit of research for ball, but I was literally clicking for this. So, but as we said, for next year, we will have more puck knowledge for that. But that's a little update for that. Is it's going to be Wisconsin versus either Michigan or Denver in the finals. I actually don't even know when the finals are. 2 days from now. All right. They are on Friday. Saturday. All right. See a little next topic here that is not for me.
Yeah. So we got one last update in the sports world here. Feel like I should actually add in some of the stuff I'm interested in because I haven't brought it up in a while, mainly because the UFC events have just been like one-offs for the last little bit. But there is an important one coming up. Proper Mike Malott is fighting a week Saturday. Our boy, we went to high school with him at Hillfield.
I was going to say, shout out Hillfield Strathallan College, baby.
His sister was in our grade. We will leave her unnamed though. But yeah, he's fighting Gilbert Burns in seemingly just the biggest fight of his career, off back-to-back wins. We won't talk about the Neil Magny loss. Otherwise perfect in the UFC, but he, this is for him to become. He was ranked 15 there for a little bit. I think he's since dropped out because of other fights, but now he's getting back to being active. Gilbert Burns is around 10. So yeah, if he wins this, he's going to crack the top 10. First time a Canadian fighter's done something like that in a while. He's by far the best Canadian fighter right now. Actually, I should say amongst the men. There are some actual women that are cooking out there that have been ranked in the top 5. But this is a huge fight for him. He wins this. Gilbert Burns really, that's a solid matchup for him because Burns is falling off. He's just not really going to be good anymore. At this point in time, I wish Owen was here to talk about it because he's the knower of ball in UFC, but Gilbert Burns used to be goated, but I think he's now 37, 38. And just a big chance. Yeah. That's like in fighter years, like 38's where you were going to start falling off. And it's just Malott's chance to take advantage and leapfrog into the top 10 and then probably get crushed by somebody who's actually good at fighting. But that's for another day.
Hey, man, it'd be cool for him to get in the top 10.
I agree. He was actually at our graduation, but I wasn't know ball back then, so I didn't get a chance to go up to him.
You definitely would have, and he probably would have talked to you. Only because
Ben Miller and Azim talked to him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say only because you went to the same high school, so he'd be like, I'll talk to you.
Oh, anyway, enough of talking about things outside of the sports world. Let's drop the puck. All right.
I love you say it happening outside of the sports world, like hockey is the only thing inside of the sports world.
Well, exactly. It's the only thing that matters. Like, come on.
You're right. Unless it's September to February. But yes, you're right.
As soon as April hits, hockey's the only sport that matters.
That's also not true. But all right, let's keep it rolling with recent news. So first,
let's go. We're gonna go like a machine gun and just
another absolutely insane one. The New York Islanders fire Patrick Waugh and replace him with Pete DeBoer.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just a massive fan of this. I'm not gonna lie. Like Pete DeBoer, in my opinion, should not have even been I would have comfortably said I will fire Berube for DeBoer at the start of the year for the Leafs. I would have had no issue with them doing that. I think he's an unbelievable coach. There's obviously that whole Ottinger situation where really, I guarantee you, Joel Quenneville's coaching and he covered up sexual assault. If we want to be honest, really, that's going to be a reason we're not letting an elite coach be in the NHL. I think it was lunacy. I'm a massive fan of this hiring. I think getting him in early is good. The only reason I think this is good is because it's Pete DeBoer. If Vegas had done the same thing, I would have been not a fan of it. I was not a fan of it because I think Tortorella is a step down from Cassidy anyway. Yeah. But I think you massively upgrade at coach. Yes, do you have to change a lot more? Do you have to change a lot of stuff mid-year? Sure. But even the Islanders know this year ain't it. They're hoping to make it, sure, but it's more important that they have Pete DeBoer in the organization in April for the offseason than it is the fact that he's going to coach him into the playoffs.
I feel like that was a huge part of it. They were like, let's get ahead of the coaching. Yeah. There's a lot of teams that
he would have been hired. If you didn't fire Waugh and you stayed in the playoffs till you got fired or you lost, say they make the playoffs, you say you play 5-6 games, by end of April, he would have been hired. One of the teams out of the playoffs who'd fired their coach would have hired him already.
Agreed.
So I think that's a big pickup for them.
For a question for me is, I wonder if Patrick Waugh is going to get picked up here by somebody.
I think he deserves it. Listen, man, the team was doing well. I don't even think he necessarily was fired because the team wasn't doing well. They massively exceeded expectations, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like that was off the back of Sorokin and Schaefer, not off the
but I would say that when your coach is Patrick Waugh, how the goaltending plays has actually something to do with the head coach. I would not say that's the case normally, but when your head coach is Patrick Waugh, I guarantee you Sorokin having the best year he's had in 4 years had something to do with Waugh being there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Matthew Schaefer's leaving hunched over, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what it was. Let's see. Oh, he just blocked the shot off the tit. That's all.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Raw's just such an eccentric guy. He's one of the only coaches in the NHL.
Well, I don't know. When Rantanen barreled Romanov from behind, that injured him for the rest of the year, Waugh was literally in the glass in between benches trying to fight Rantanen, basically. Was willing to. And listen, Alexander Romanov, sure, he's a solid second pairing guy. That's what the Islanders project him to be moving forward, for sure. But it's not like that was Schaefer or Barzell or Horvat. It wasn't one of the top franchise cornerstone players that he's willing to do that for. My point is saying he was willing to go for bat for anybody in that room. And I think that's something valuable. That he was going to go fight Rantanen, dude. I think that was crazy.
I agree. And I think in the correct organization and culture, that's great. But it is also a kind of archetype of coaching that is very much dying.
Yes, and also our type of coaching that doesn't last long. There's a reason Tortorella has coached half the league.
Yeah,
because and Berube, same thing. I would say his is the same. I'd say Cassidy's the same. To a point where you're I don't need to just be screamed at all the time. So I don't disagree with you, but I think he'll get another chance. I think someone will hire him. Someone kind of like the Islanders. So I think we're hiring him to be whatever. You're kind of just the placeholder until we want to be good again. And so I think he'll go get another role like that. I think someone will give him a chance. I think he'll want another chance.
Agreed.
All right, keeping it more rapid fire because that was definitely one that we need to talk about more. But Ron Francis, the president of the Seattle Kraken, has stepped down. This feels like saving face for him essentially being fired. I think that's a great move. I think the fact that they thought it was a good idea to continue to buy when they look at that roster up and down and really think that's a playoff team. When you man, I've been saying this since day one. Jordan Eberle, you're getting a first. Adam Larson, you're getting a first. They have so many players on that team that you trade. They got two firsts for Bjorkstrand and Gord last year. I thought if they just kept doing that, you could get so many picks that you could kind of just pull a OKC almost because you could get so many picks. Now they can still do that.
Such a tradable team. You have so many pieces.
Honestly, I would actually be totally comfortable. Actually, no, I'm going to save that comment for later, only because he's very I'll save that comment for later because it's a very relevant part of this episode later. But I would be comfortable trading most players on that team, if I'm honest. Most players currently playing outside, obviously, like Catton and like Yanni Nima, like these 21-year-old prospects who are playing, but like most of them are pretty interchangeable, in my opinion. Defense and goaltending included. Like Decord's good, sure, but like I would rather what he could get me than just continuing to be okay.
Agreed.
Personally.
Agreed.
So I hope that changes the direction of them. Ilya Protas, brother of Alexei Protas, made his debut for the Capitals last night against the Leafs. Both of them are 6'6". So I don't know what their family's feeding them, but give me some of that.
Buddy,
he looked fine. He got an assist on Cole Hudson's empty netter. So he picked up a point in his first game. He looked solid. Like he actually looks very similar to Alexei Protas. They play very similarly, which isn't surprising. But I think he'll be a great middle six guy. I think he'll have a few years of fantasy relevance, but he's much like Alexei, is too good in other areas and just okay, like just good at offense, but like really good at other areas that aren't necessarily offense, that he's too valuable in other places. Like Protas is such a good penalty killer, so good along the wall, battling pucks out, so good at like battling those pucks behind the net, like stuff that sure you can pick up assists doing that, but that's not necessarily how you're going to generate points the best. So I think he kind of fits that bill, but like when you're this highly touted of a prospect and you just scored 30 in the A as a rookie, like you gotta, that's a prospect I want on my Fantrax team.
That's a scary line. Even like while he hasn't figured out the scoring yet, like right now,
I know.
You see the 700-pound line with the two Protases and Wilson. Dude, imagine then the deep pairing coming at you is Favari and Sandin. Not necessarily the greatest defenseman, but they hit. Like I'd be afraid to play against that five on the ice. Like I
think Washington is building, man. This is why I was like, when people were like, "Oh, they're a one-year wonder last year," I'm like, sure, but if you look deeper into their forward core, like prospect core, like if they're able to supplant, if they come in and they can develop them nicely, and they keep these like the good players they have already there, like the Chikrins, the Wilsons, you can build a pretty nasty team, in my opinion, with who they got coming up. They still got like Cristal and Parasek and a few others that aren't playing yet. But yeah,
and they've already gotten their like you look at the decor. It's like you already got your kind of two dogs there.
You already Chikrin and Hudson
coming up the pipeline.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then you got Roy. Actually, technically, you got Matt Roy and Sandin and Favari, who are all mid-20s, like still guys that like very much have a lot of miles still left in the tank. Signed on good numbers for long term. So, and they just locked up Logan and Charlie Lindgren too long term. Yeah. If they can develop those prospects on forward they have coming in, I'm a really big fan of what Washington could be building.
Well, I just need Leno to be. I like Logan.
I don't know, but it's what Lindgren's whatever. But it's a backup; it doesn't really matter. But they like him a lot, and they're a good tandem overall. But more importantly, they got Logan locked up. All right, keeping it more rapid fire. The Boston Bruins signed James Hagens officially to his ELC after completing his AHL tryout. Pass it over to you, Antonio. You got something else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I did actually. So, okay, first of all, this is the highest ELC that has been signed by a Boston Bruins player in history, which is kind of surprising. Like, you think, I guess Pasternak and McAvoy just weren't as highly touted as him. And all
W Boston, they signed Hagens for $9.75, and the Islanders paid Atchison and Cole Eisman like 1.18 or something, or 1.018 or something like that. So W Boston saved like $40K there.
Let's go. But you do know he gets more money. And the only bonus on his check is if he wins the Conn Smythe.
All right, buddy. I saw you sent me that post, and I was just like,
dude, what is that about? Like, they're like, all right, buddy, like, if you really cook this year, you can, here you go, $12,000 to win the Conn Smythe.
I'm sure there's probably some rule. They have to include a bonus in your ELC for each year. And they're like, what are we going to make it when he comes in game 79? And so they just made it something absurd.
Yeah. I mean, very much required for the Bruins. I'm going to keep it short here otherwise, but our secondary scoring, like outside of our top six, has been just literally, I think we've gotten a combined 6 goals in the last 20 games from our bottom 6, and that's just not good enough. So even if Hagens isn't going to be a superstar, we need something to generate scoring down there. And yeah, let's keep her going.
All right. This is not even are these Alex Ovechkin's final days? Like, there's been a ton of speculation online remember, I don't know if you remember, but at the start of the year, the Capitals released a thing of their season ticket holders being like, this is Ovi's last year, like, blah, like yada, yada, yada. And then very quickly retracted that statement. And there's been no really official word since that this is going to be Ovi's final season. Obviously, everyone since then has been pretty sure that this is going to be Ovi's last season, but there's been a ton of debate online, whether it's like, is he going to do a farewell tour, or like, is he going to pull a Gretzky and essentially announce like 48 hours before his last game, this is it. Like, I'm done.
Well,
I think the latter. I think he's just going to do that. He doesn't. Everything I've seen about this guy does not seem like he wants to go be paraded around like LeBron James at all 31 other cities, have them give him presents and all that other crap. Like, LeBron wants to do that, I guarantee you, which is why I know he's not retiring at the end of this year. But I actually really think this is it for Ovi. I think at some point this week, I think their last game is on like in a week, is next Tuesday, something like that. I really think at some point this weekend he's going to announce like this is it. That's personally how I feel about it.
Finish at home or on the road?
No, their second last game is at home. That's what I mean. Sorry, their last game is like next Wednesday, I think, or next Tuesday. But their last home game is I think on this Sunday, which is why I think sometime this weekend he's going to announce that this is it.
Yeah. No, I think it is too. I think he probably told them at the start of the year, like, "Yeah, I'm retiring." And then they were going to go
release it, and then he's like,
"Well, I didn't want people to know." Like,
yeah, everyone.
He probably didn't want the season to be about himself, like, which is like a W captain.
People, especially after last year, was all about him passing Gretzky's record. Like, I think he would rather that be more of his farewell tour than anything. But most of the people might have been like, I think there's too much money for the NHL to be made giving him a farewell tour. Like, people will sell out the buildings when he goes to all the different facilities, knowing that this is his last time. Fair, but I also don't think it's up to the NHL. Like, it's up to Alexander Ovechkin and Alexander Ovechkin only, whether he wants to call it a career. And I think that is entirely going to come down to what he chooses.
Yeah, but they definitely will try and convince him.
Oh, they 100% will be like, come on. Like, that's what I saw. The TSN broadcast was talking about it last night during the intermission of the Capitals game, and O-Dog, I actually forget, not Brian O'Neill. What's his first name?
I have no idea.
The odd for TSN, O-Dog is his nickname. That's literally all I call him, so I don't even know what his first name is. He's played for the Leafs, but something O'Neill. He literally said, can he sign a contract till Christmas? Like, can he come play, make it known to everyone that he's retiring, and then just be done at Christmas, which I thought was a funny thing, and doubt that would happen. But like, theoretically, they could just put him on LTIR and say like, you're done if they wanted to.
That would be interesting. I doubt it though.
No, I think it's done. I really think he's done.
He's coming back. Well, if he comes back, they're also, I'm going to say, I think they probably make the playoffs next year.
I would think so. Like, if you make, especially because his contract's up at the end of this year. So if he's coming back, I guarantee you he's coming back for league min or close to it. If he's coming, maybe not league min, because like you don't like,
they pay him like probably like
$4. But I don't know. I think it could be less.
He's
like, I think
he's crazy goal scorer, dude. Like,
I know, but like, I think he could be like, listen, I'm 38 years old, 39, or I'm 40 years old. I've made an obscene amount. I have made the most money in NHL history over the course of my career. Like, I'm good. I can just come back and play for $2 million, $1 million, try and win a second cup, and be it. So yes, basically they're going to have a lot of money whether he comes back or not, and all these prospects are going to come up. I expect Cristal's probably playing next year. That's probably the last one, and then a full year of Ilya Protas and a full year of Cole Hudson. I really think, I think they could be in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad if this is the end for him, it would be sad for him to go out as a regular season exit. But
hey man,
he's had a great career.
We'll get into it in about 5 minutes. They ain't out of it. They ain't out of it yet. They ain't out of it at all.
All right,
but we'll get into that.
So we can get there. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, I agree. The Bill Masterton nominees were officially announced. So for people that don't know, that's like the best community service award, essentially. The Boston Bruins nominee was Charlie McAvoy, and the Toronto Maple Leafs was Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Don't know what your teams was if you're a fan or not one of those teams, unfortunately. So feel free to go check it out. But obviously, congratulations to those 32 players. Obviously, a really big deal, big for the league. They need to be having this kind of stuff. But as a fan, I'm not. I'm indifferent to it. Do your thing. Nick Kyrgios,
anything off of like Bruins media, so McAvoy ain't winning that shit. But happy
I
that he got
haven't
nominated.
seen anything about OEL either, so OEL ain't winning it either. Nick Kyprios reported earlier, kind of last week, that he thought there was a chance Mark Stone, much like Alex Pietrangelo last season, will somewhat abruptly retire due to lingering injury issues at the end of the season. Obviously, people know like Mark Stone and LTIR is one of the biggest hockey memes on the entire planet and probably will be for the remainder of the 2020s. In fact, it might just be a league-wide Robida Island at this point, like how Leaf fans call it Robida Island. Like it might just be known as like the Mark Stone thing if you go on LTIR, although they patched it for the playoffs, so not as fun. But I could see this. I mean, he's hurt. He's been hurt a lot. He's a relatively injury-prone player. He's 35, I think, now. Like he's getting up there at this point in his career. I definitely think it's a possibility. Obviously, much like Petro last year, it would kill them if he did. Like if he doesn't come back, it would, because like, yes, you'll get that money, but like, unless you're getting Tuck, there's no one who's anywhere close to what Stone is producing. And I still personally think Tuck is staying in Buffalo. I think they'll still figure that out eventually.
I don't know. I feel like he stays. I feel like he stays because I think that like with Pietrangelo, you saw it trail off a little bit. Like Stone's still been producing, and
not really, bro. Petro was still playing 23, 24 minutes a night last year in the playoffs. Like he was still their number one guy, and he just was like, to the point where I was shocked that he was done. Like in the regular season, he was mid, but like when they played him in the playoffs, like he was still their guy in the playoffs. Him and Theodore and McNabb and Hannafin, like those four were still their guy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, this is Nick Cooper's support. I don't really got any like personal opinion on it because I don't know. But that would suck. And as a pro Vegas hater, now that they own Mitch Marner, I love it. Next, the New Jersey Devils fire their general manager, Tom Fitzgerald, one that Devils fans have been calling for his head for the last few years now. I think it's warranted. I think he did a good job building this core, and they've only made the playoffs one time, and they missed it again. I think the Timo Meier trade and signing has just been one of the biggest flops in recent memory. He's just been bad there. He's just been objectively not even close to the same player, to the point where I was seeing people reply Timo Meier for that M-Bon prompt, saying the Devils are a dynasty once they dump his ass. And the funny part is he was supposed to be the guy that kickstarted their dynasty. Yeah. But I think, and the Luke Hughes contract is laughable. This whole signing, bringing in Kovacevic and Siegenthaler and all these other guys and not letting Nemec have a place to play and not letting Seamus Casey have a place to play, I think is like signing the fact that you signed Brendan Dillon, Brett Pesce, and Jonathan Kovacevic in one off season when you already had arguably the two best defensive prospects in the entire sport, I think is ridiculous. And you already had your top pairing in Siegenthaler and Hamilton signed. Like you brought in three defensemen when you already had two elite prospects and a first pairing. Like there's no reason to do that. So I think totally warranted that he's fired. And I think that's a really exciting team that honestly, like if you look at their contracts, like he shares up at the end of next year, Hamilton's coming to an end. Nemec is an RFA soon. Like they're a team that they can make a lot of moves. And especially with the new GM in there, could really shape that core around Hughes and Bratt. And unfortunately Luke Hughes now, because you kind of have to. But yeah, very interesting to see what could be coming. Very for sure. He's still only 22 as a defenseman. But it's just funny to clown it right now. Continuing with the overall GM talk, Sonny Mehta, the current assistant GM of the Florida Panthers, is gaining a ton of traction around the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as the New Jersey Devils. I would say he's the betting favorite for the Leafs right now. Fitzgerald hasn't been fired enough for there to be a big enough group around the Devils yet. But Mehta is number one. And number two is Kevin fucking Adams. Are we for real? Buffalo, or do we forget that Buffalo missed the playoffs for 14 of those years? I'm pretty sure he was the GM for at least 9 of them. You fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was at least 9 of them. And they were dead last in the league when he got fired this year. They brought in a new GM who changed up like 4 players. Like they immediately sent 4 people down and called 4 people up. And they've been the best team in hockey since then, which basically means he had the roster created because they were so bad for so long. He put together enough prospects to create a division-winning roster and didn't even know how to put the right 23 guys on that roster to make them win. Like, obviously, he doesn't coach them. He doesn't adjust the lines. But he's the one who puts the 23 on the NHL roster and the other one on the AHL. Like, I think it's lunacy if you think about giving this guy another chance. And also, I actually would rather Rick from Barrie, who suggested we go get all these ogres from defensemen, than Kevin Adams, because at least it's someone new. Like, I don't think this guy deserves another chance. He was horrible at his job. He
got signed in 2020 at fired 25.
So he was GM for 6 years, but he was for 5 years.
He didn't even draft.
But he was in the organization for more than that. Like, he was in the organization for longer than that.
He was an assistant coach for a bit.
Yeah. So, but like, still, he was basically there for part of the organization for basically the entire time they missed the playoffs. The second he got fired, they're going in the playoffs. I think if they hire him, I will have serious looks in the mirror about being a fan of a new team temporarily, because I just can't support. I just can't support.
Hey man, maybe you got to become an Islanders fan.
And by the way, I say temporary. I say temporary because why would I pick the Islanders if I wanted to watch good prospects?
Because their AHL team's coming to Hamilton.
Oh, I'm still watching the NHL. Anyway, Doug Armstrong, continuing on this to kind of wrap this up. Doug Armstrong is out of the race for either president or GM. He's effectively just staying with the Blues at this point. And finally, the Colorado Avalanche clinched the Central, clinched the first in the Western Conference. They got that Z next to their name on the standings, or the Z. Sorry, Zed. I ain't no American. Zed. And that's all for recent news.
Is that what Americans say?
No, Z. They say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. No, Zed. I say Zed. I don't say Z. I feel like Americans.
Zed.
QRSTUV
WXYZ.
Oh, it is Z. You're right. Okay, I said it right the first time.
Oh my god, dude.
All right, to be fair, bro, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
I'm also not gonna lie, Z does sound dumber. Like, reading that through, like, why wouldn't it just be Zed? Like, Z sounds really stupid.
Because it rhymes, dude. It rhymes, okay?
All right, that is all for recent news. Let's get on to the wild card watch, baby.
All right. This is an interesting one. A lot has happened since we had a wild card watch segment back
because
a week ago today now.
No, we did. Last time was this Sunday when we were picking all the games. Oh, no, we did one a week. No, we did one a week ago.
We did like
we didn't. One. We didn't. We did like a very small update, but like the last time we really did one was like Sunday, March 28th, something like that. Yeah, it's been a bit.
A lot has happened.
And first of all, the Penguins have effectively secured that Metro 2 spot. They've done enough winning down the stretch that they basically locked that up. Obviously not wild card, but a team that's been in the wild card watch for a lot of the season kind of solidified out of the wild card watch. Another team that I can't believe is actually out of the wild card watch, given they were a long shot to be even in the wild card watch last time we were talking to you guys about this. The Philadelphia Flyers are third in the Metro. They did just lose to the Red Wings tonight, or losing in the process of losing to. Yeah, they're down 6-2, so they're going to lose to the Red Wings, but still, like,
I can't lie. I
came out of nowhere.
I am such a hater. I'm such a hater. I'm just hating them. I'm just like, I don't want to watch them in the playoffs. Like, they're not an interesting.
I would agree until they got Porter Martone. He is an absolute dog. Put him in that top six, and it's changed their top six dramatically. They got Tyson Forster back healthy. Michkov is playing well again, and they added Forster, and they added Martone. So like their top nine, like they're actually just winning for a reason. Like I think I would rather watch them than the Islanders with the way their forward core operates now.
I think what it should be, though, is I think it should be Columbus at 3, and then the 2 wild cards stay the same as they are right now. And I'm praying that Philly just falls out.
I mean, fair, but like, bro, the way Philly's been playing, I got no issue with Philly making that. They just deserve it. I mean, Columbus has had ample opportunity and played all the same teams as them to get to the spot they are, and Philly just won the games and Columbus didn't.
They just did it earlier. Columbus did exactly what Philly did earlier, because when they got Bowness, and now they're kind of in that settled in phase, like. They've kind of lost the coach.
I know, but I actually think Philly's better than Columbus. Like if you look at Philly's top 9 with a healthy Forster and Martone playing now, like they got 3 lines that I'm like, I love rolling any one of these 3 lines out, and they still got Sean Couturier on their 4th line.
Yeah,
like I really like. Do I like their team long term? No, because they have guys like Noah Cates, Christian Dvorak. Like those aren't guys that I think are going to be guys that win you cups. But for this year, I think they're better than Columbus. I think their top nine's better. I think
that's interesting. I don't know which way I go on it. I think it is close.
And I think Werenski, Columbus has got Werenski, but I like the other 5. If you remove the number 1, I like the other 5 for Philly better than the other 5 for Columbus. Like Damon Severson, Eric Goodbranson, Dante Fabro, like those guys don't move me on the back end for Columbus. I'd rather you got Cam York, you got Nick Seeler, who's very solid. You got Travis Anheim, who's a dog. You have Risto, who like in a sheltered role is totally fine. You got Emil Andre and Igor Zamula, who I'm a big fan of both those young guys they got on the bottom pairing. Like I don't
like the forward depth on Columbus. It's like there's nothing that screams at you, but it's just all pretty good. Like
but so I'm saying,
being a
but like
player in your bottom 6 is
I think they have Matt Mishkov in their bottom 6 too, Philadelphia, and like that's because their other 2 lines are really good. Like they got Forrester, Zegras, Konechny's their first line, and then they come back with Cates, Dvorak, Martone. I think something like that. Like it's good. Like I just would rather that.
It's Konechny, Dvorak, Martone, but yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember, but it was some still like then they still the other day actually Forster was on the first left wing when I looked on it on like Tuesday, so they've changed it. Oh, it's Forster, Dvorak, Konechny. Oh, I forgot about Tippett too. Yeah, see, like that team is so good, man. I really, really like that team. So good in terms of wildcard teams. But yeah, getting into the actual wildcard conversation, the Boston Bruins still firmly hold wildcard 1. There's no real room for them to move up anymore. Unlikely they fall out of the playoffs at this point. It could fall back to wildcard 2, I guess, theoretically. But if that were to happen, I think it would happen far enough in the future that like they're not being caught either way. So I think, in my opinion, they've like effectively clinched.
Hot take would prefer to be the wildcard 2. Because I think that the Canes are just going to take that first, like the conference number 1 come end of season. And I would much prefer to play the Canes than to play Tampa or to play Montreal.
Or Buffalo. I agree.
Well, Buffalo I would take. Buffalo I think is okay.
You feel differently than me. You feel differently than me. Every single defense. Fair.
We're 3-1 against Buffalo this year. We have
but like you guys beat us, I think, all 5 games, and we went to 7 the year. And we went to overtime of game 7. The year we played and we didn't beat you a single time in the regular season that year. I remember that because we were getting clowned all year for that. And then we went to game 7 double OT, which is the biggest coin flip in all of sports. Like
we got it done.
What you do in the regular, you guys didn't beat Detroit the year they were like one of the worst teams in NHL history. You didn't beat them.
The worst.
Like how you do in the regular season and your regular season matchups is completely irrelevant. I actually think last year Ottawa swept us as well, and we beat them in the playoffs in 6. And it wasn't really that close of a series if you watched it. Like what you do in the regular season doesn't matter. Give me the Buffalo that defense core. UPL is a massive question mark, really. That's the only thing that scares me about Buffalo. Everything else I really like. But I don't disagree with you. I'd rather play Carolina than any of the Atlantic teams. Continuing, the Senators currently hold a 2-point lead on wildcard 2 at the moment. Although I do believe they're about to get a dub tonight, which is going to... Oh, yeah, they already did. So they're at 94. The Bruins are at 96 with 3 games remaining. And the Islanders with the win are now at 91 with 3 games remaining as well. And Columbus at 90. So we got 3 games left and there's 3 points in between it. Like we're actually starting to conclude this wildcard watch. I would say even with Columbus, Washington's definitely out of it now. Washington has 89 points or 89 points in 79 games, with 94 points being the second wildcard spot. They're 5 points out with 3 games remaining. They basically need to run the table, and Ottawa needs to lose out, including Detroit, Columbus, and the Islanders also doing just as bad. Like there's not really a world that Washington gets in now, given that. Well, and Detroit's about to win tonight too. Like given Detroit's about to go to 91 points as well.
Their way in wouldn't be the wild card. They would have to get into the 3 spot.
I guess, yeah, their way in is because Philly's got 92 points. Like, yeah, it's honestly Columbus. Like, Detroit's out of it, I think, with 89 points. I mean, they're going to have 91, but, like, they're not playing well enough. I don't think Detroit's doing it. I actually don't disagree with you. I actually think the race is now down to looking at this Philly, Washington, Columbus, and the Islanders for the 3 spot in the Metro.
Yeah.
I would say that that Boston and Ottawa are going to pretty firmly hold those 2 wildcard spots now.
I think they both, if the Sens win one more game they're in, and then the Bruins win. I think if the Bruins get a point, they're in. So,
no, a win for Ottawa wouldn't officially. Their magic numbers 2 for the Sens. They need a win and like basically the Islanders and Detroit. If they both lose one game, it's over. Like they're gonna clinch.
Yeah. And
the Ottawa wins one game. So yeah, basically wrapped up. I think that 3 seed is definitely interesting because Philly's gonna lose tonight. So they lost to Detroit. So they're gonna stay at 78, which means the Islanders are at 91 and Columbus is at 90, Washington at 89. So they're all still there. I think Islanders and Columbus have the best chance to do it. Obviously, they're right there. Mm-hmm. But I would rather it better not be the Islanders. That's all I care. I wouldn't even. I don't really mind any of those other teams being in it. I kind of feel equally just okay about all of them. Think they're all just forms of mid. But I just don't want that to be the Islanders personally. Although maybe with DeBoer they're a little different, but like their roster is just too boring. And the way for them to win is to get good goaltending.
Yeah, so Sorokin could just be insane.
That's what I mean.
Ron Hextall or some shit.
And all right, that kind of concludes the East wildcard watch. Just quickly touching on the divisions before we go to the West. Carolina will win the Metro. I don't think they've officially won it, but like they're going to. They have officially won it. So yeah, they actually know they beat you guys in OT and officially clinched it. I actually forgot to mention that too. So they've clinched the Metro. Obviously they're still going to be in an absolute dogfight for the division or for the number 1 in the conference compared to the other division winner. Now looking at the Atlantic, Tampa is about to lose to Montreal. It's 2-1. Yeah, they did. They just officially lost. So with Buffalo winning as well, Buffalo is 107 points in 80 games. So they got 2 games, 106 points in 80 games. Tampa has 102 and 79, and Montreal's 104 and 79. So Buffalo's a 2-game lead 2-point lead on Ottawa, on Montreal. Montreal does have a game in hand. But man, Tampa's now fallen all the way down to 3 currently. And with game in hand wouldn't even catch Buffalo. So looking unlikely that they're going to win the division. It feels like it's down to Montreal or Buffalo at this point.
Which would be insane if Montreal ends up winning it as being
that'd be crazy.
A wild card team like 2-3 weeks ago. Like,
yeah. But hey man, I said this. If you guys were watching, I think it was like episode 103, right around that range. I said I don't see Montreal sticking around in this wild card race. Like I think they're going to jump up into the top 3. Did I think they're going to do this well? No, but I felt they're going to be very firmly in 3. Now granted, Tampa's kind of scuffled down the stretch more than I thought they would have, which is part of it. Like I would have assumed they would have been up there with Buffalo
or even Buffalo. Like Buffalo's not been that much better than them. They've both been like kind of around 500 through the last stretch.
Yeah, they're both 5-3-2 in their last 10.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's above 500 because of
but
the point system. But
Buffalo's won 3 in a row. Like they've kind of fixed it. Once they clinched the playoffs, they like their next 2 games after officially clinching, they were like really bad. They played really poorly and they lost those 2, and then they've won 3 in a row since then. So I actually think they're fine. I think they got a little bit. They let that get into the playoffs euphoria get to them a little bit.
Partied a little too hard.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that'll be, I would say like arguably the Atlantic Division race is now more interesting than the wild card race with 2 to 3 games remaining for most teams.
Yeah. Agreed.
Moving on to the Western Conference, the Utah Mammoth, much like the Boston Bruins, firmly hold the wild card 1. No room to move up as they can't catch the big 3 in the Central. And they, even more than the Bruins, have a very firm lead on that wild card over the wild team in wild card 2. So they're going to be the first wild card and they're going to play the winner of the Pacific. That's simple. Moving on to the actual wildcard race, the Nashville Predators currently hold the second wildcard spot. Yeah, seriously, I just had brutal hiccups, but they currently hold the second wildcard spot with 84 points in 78 games. However, they have the most games played out of like any team who's not eliminated and still in the race. Every other team has 77 games played. The Kings are 1 point back. The Sharks are 3 back. The Jets are 4 back, and the Blues are 6 back for what it's worth. And the Kraken aren't officially eliminated, but I think one more loss would do that to them.
No, I'm pretty sure they're officially eliminated. I'm pretty sure.
No, I have it in front of me. There's no E next to their name officially.
Really?
So they, like,
I guess 10
I can show
points.
you right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Like,
No, the
they're
math in my
still in it.
brain. I swear I just saw a graphic, but I must
because they have most of the East teams have like 3 games remaining, and most of the West teams have like 5. Part of it, actually, I was looking at the schedule. The entire last day, there's like 6 games, and they're all Western Conference teams.
Yeah,
like the East is done an entire day before the West is, so kind of makes sense.
Because I think they're starting with West games. I mean, with East games.
They normally split them.
Playoffs.
They normally split them. Like that. It's actually, I've never seen this before where one conference finishes an entire day before the other, because they normally have 2 East, 2 West in one day and just alternate like that. But at least it's kind of fair. Like at least the whole one conference is kind of experiencing the same thing. But I think Seattle, St. Louis, they're both out of it. St. Louis was a really cool story and definitely had the chance because they played the teams they needed to. They just lost to them. Like they lost to Winnipeg, they lost to St. Louis or San Jose, and they lost to LA. Like tough when you lose to all 3 of the teams who are literally the 3 now in front of you. Mm-hmm. I think Winnipeg is in tough. They kind of need to win out. But man, San Jose and LA, those are 2 interesting ones. I mean, as a Leaf fan, I'm just pulling extraordinarily hard for that to be LA because the Lawton condition that makes that a second round pick instead of a third. So I'm just massively pushing for that to be the case. But I think San Jose would be super exciting too. I don't really want Winnipeg to make it, even as a Canadian. Like, I don't think they're a very exciting team. Like, they have a first line. They're kind of like the Islanders. They have a first line, a good first D pairing, and a good goalie, and that's it. Yeah, and they're actually even less exciting after the first line than the Islanders, I would say. Because at least the Islanders got like Cal Ritchie and Braden Shen. The Jets got Nemestikov and Adam Lowry, dude. Fire me up. I think I personally, yes, maybe a little bit of bias, but I think LA with the Panarin trade is the best team there. I think the Sharks have the best player, but the rest of their team is so bad that I think LA having Panarin and still a very good team around him makes them the best team. Roman Josi actually just got scratched from tonight's game against Utah, which is massive. That's a big blow to the Preds. In a game that I guess if they win tonight, they have an outside shot of passing Utah. But that would require winning tonight. And without Josi, that's going to be even tougher. But I would say, I think the Kings are going to make it. I think that's going to be the team. But and then I guess second most confident I am in the Preds making it.
Yeah, not much to add there. Kings and Preds are pretty similar, but
I just trust Kopitar and Doughty more than I trust like Josi and Forsberg, Stamkos, I guess. Like I trust that leadership group with the squad they have more than the Preds.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, perfect. Just kind of wrapping up the divisions. The Central is actually Minnesota and Dallas are playing right now. Dallas is a 2-point lead on Minnesota. Both have 78 games played. Massive game for home ice advantage. Massive. It's very much still up for grabs. I do think Dallas wins it, though. I think Dallas is a better team. I think Dallas is the home team tonight, too. And with a win tonight, that would effectively end that debate. The Central is completely switched. Vegas hires Tortorella. They've won 4 in a row. And they play Seattle tonight, who's dog shit. So they're probably going to win a 5th in a row. And just like that, they're right there. I mean, they have a game in hand on Edmonton. They're 2 points back of the division. Anaheim's fallen back to be 3 points back of the division, still with only 1 game in hand. Feels like they're going to be the 3, and I think Edmonton's probably going to win the division because I think the new coach bump for Vegas is going to slow down. They're not going to win out.
I mean, you never know. That would be electric if they won out going into the playoffs.
I mean, I actually think they play Vancouver once, too. They have 4 games remaining, and they play Seattle and Vancouver as 2 of them. So that would be electric. I mean, if they won out, Edmonton's not going to win enough to win the division, but I think Edmonton's still going to win it at this point.
Oh, they play the Avs.
That'd be crazy. But keep in mind, the Avs have won everything. Like, what's the reason for the Avs to play players in those games? Like, I highly doubt McKinnon plays in that game.
And then the Jets are the other team. Yeah, I could see it happening.
It's actually plausible, but I just don't see them winning 8 in a row to finish the season. Like, that's just feels too unlikely. I don't think their team's good enough, to be quite frank, to like win 8 in a row. I mean, I guess any team can if you get hot. But I mean, talk about getting hot at the right time, though.
I mean, win Vegas. 3 out of 4 there, and you could probably win the division too, though.
I know. I don't know who Edmonton plays, but
I'll have a look.
Edmonton is a tiebreaker. I know that over Vegas.
Oilers play Kings, Avs, Canucks.
So Canucks and then Avs, same argument for Vegas. And so then they play one plays the Kings, one plays the Jets, and then Vegas is an extra game, basically, against Seattle. Yeah, I feel like Edmonton goes 2-3 there, and that's enough to win it. Because keep in mind, Vegas has to pass them because they can't tie them. And so I don't think there's enough games for Vegas. Even if they won out, I think Edmonton going 2-3 would be enough. No, if they won out, actually, they would win the division. But I think that's the only way they can. Well, no, actually, that's not true because Edmonton could lose. But the only likely scenario in which they win the division. And yeah, I think Anaheim will be 3. That's all.
Dude, it's crazy that there's still so much up for grabs with 3 games left. I feel like I'm used to like there being like one team in each race that like might get in, but like it's like unlikely and they need to win out. But you have like genuinely like 6 teams that you don't know whether they're going to make the playoffs.
I know. I would say the way the East is developing, it's more normal. Like it's kind of although 3 teams being in the race for the division is kind of crazy, but not abnormal necessarily. I think the East is relatively normal, but I don't disagree. Like the West, still 1, 2, 3 in the Pacific could win the division, and still there's like 4 teams in the wild card race.
Yeah,
and so like it's Whereas like there's only one real with Ottawa winning again tonight, only one real playoff spot up for grabs in the East now. But like, I guess there's only one in the West too. But there's just more that can be changed.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to our next section. For this next section, it is our top U23 players to watch for next season. Now, this is not who do we think is the 3 best U23 players. So, like, this is not going to include the Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard, Matthew Schaefers, because obviously you know that those guys are good guys to watch. But these are some more under the radar guys that we think will be drafted. Like all these guys, looking at them, if you know they're going to be in the NHL, like, which is really the only case for one of them, every other one will be in the NHL. Like, they're going to be drafted. It's just where, and I think for every single one of these guys, if you draft them like a round early, it's a massive, massive sleeper.
Yeah, I think we have our top 23 under 23 list that we're going to release. And like none of these guys are on it because obviously that list is stacked, but everybody on that list, like you already know about. Like you've heard those names before. These are guys that not necessarily even cracked the NHL yet.
Like,
but we'll probably be on that list.
Only one of these players on this list played a full year this year. Every single one of them is either joined at the end of the season or has yet to join, period. So without further ado, let's get into it. You want to go first or me?
You can go first.
All right. So the first guy that I have is Porter Martone of the Philadelphia Flyers. Obviously, you heard me glazing the Flyers, so clearly you know that I'm high on him. I'm a big fan of Martone. Through his first 6 games, he was recorded 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. Now, granted, he's had 2 games where he didn't even get a point, and then he had 2 1-goal, 1-assist games, both of which coming in his last 3 games played. So the more he plays, the better he's getting. His time on ice again has increased over the last few games. He saw a career high 1946 in his last game. Against Detroit, tonight. This was tonight. I didn't even realize it. Yeah, so he had a goal and assist again tonight for Philadelphia. Like he's been a big piece for them. And most importantly, he's passed the eye test in a massive way. And maybe not most importantly, but sometimes you can have guys who fill the box score that aren't necessarily going to redo it next year because it was a very unsustainable way in which they got there. This is not the case for Martone. He's an absolute dog. Philly just took him like 4th or 5th overall in the most recent draft. This guy's an absolute stud. I think very realistically could have 60, 70 points next year. I think he was that highly touted out the draft. He was that good at Michigan State this year, and he's been that good since stepping foot into the NHL this year. I'm not saying he's obviously going to be point per game. He's not going to be that good, but I think if he were to have 25 goals, 60 points next year, would not be surprised in the least. And I guarantee you he is being drafted way below that expectation.
Okay.
No, we don't know where he's being taken yet, but like
Yeah.
my expectation is his ADP is going to be lower than a guy who gets 60
Well, yeah,
points.
they're definitely not expecting him to get. They're probably
And
like
so
they probably
I'm a really
getting-
big
they
fan
probably
of him
have him
moving
at like
forward.
45 to 50 points. Is probably where they're going to start him.
I think he smashes that. If he stays, as long as he stays healthy, I think he smashes that.
All right, I like it. Personally,
Who's your first?
I'm a bit of a hater of Martone because he's drafted right ahead of Hagens, so I'm just personally preying on his downfall. But my first player is Max Plante, currently one of the favorites to win the Hobie Baker. He has 52 points in 40 games in the NCHC, which is
Also for Michigan
college
State.
hockey.
Shout out.
What?
Max Plante? Is he not on Michigan State? Am I tripping?
He's on Minnesota Duluth.
Oh, all right. I'm tripping.
It's all right. It's all right. We all have those. But yeah, 25 goals. He's looked electric in college, hasn't played yet, but will be coming up for Detroit next year. Gonna be pretty big for them. It's gonna come in on that left wing. I probably slot it on the second line almost instantly.
Yeah, I would. Depending on, I mean, they got a lot of prospects, so it's hard to say like who comes in and sees more. But yeah, and I know, but there's no, he's definitely not
to come in on the left.
Well, for the left, sure, but like they have like 6 prospects who are centers technically, like Carter Bear, Nate Danielson, like all those guys I would say are more highly touted within the organization. Now they're centers, but you don't need that many centers. So one of them is going to move to the wing very likely because they got Larkin, and then one of them will be a center, and then one of them will play on the wing. But
I feel like
keep
he's currently playing on the first line with Larkin and Raymond. I feel like that could very much be like a Plante or a Bear. And then the other guy fits in on the third, I guess. But anyway, played electric in college. Like I said, he's up for the Hobie Baker. It's probably going to be him or Polka. Betting odds are for Plante right now as we record this. But we will see this Friday. So tomorrow it'll come out. And I guess we'll talk about it on the Sunday episode.
Monday for you listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's on my Fantrax team. I love the guy. I just question whether he'll be able to get the role next year, like whether he'll be able to get a top 6 role. Like I think there's a real chance he doesn't, mostly because they got DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond. So that's 3 for sure who are in the top 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Comfort probably.
No, they won't. And then there's 3 holes in the top 6 for sure, I would say. So I guess in that rationale, but I would say probably one of Comfort or Cop is that 2C or is at least on that second line. I just am worried about like a Branstead Weegar getting an opportunity and a Carter Bear or Nate Danielson, and then he's on the third line. That's my only concern about next year specifically, but I don't disagree with you. Definitely a player that listen, the guy you're taking in the last round, you pretty much drop in the first 5 days of the season anyway. So why not risk it being Plante? With him not stepping foot in the NHL, he'll likely go undrafted. So I think he can very, very much, I agree, be a very sneaky ad because that whole second line is like a massive just question mark next year. And we don't know. And that very much could be him. All right. The next guy that I have is Cole Hudson. Obviously, we were just glazing him earlier in the episode, but another guy who's come in and made an immediate impact at the NHL level. If I could spell his name right, that would be nice. He's played 11 games. He's recorded 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points through 11 games as a defenseman. I mean, that's great. Like he's coming, he's taken over John Carlson's role on that first power play. He's seeing around 18 minutes a night and like 2 to 3 minutes on the power play per night. So he's pretty much become their first power play guy. Actually, I don't know if he's their first power play guy. It might be Chikrin, but he's still, I just know because he's producing on the power play. Like he has 4 power play points. 4 of his 8 points are on the power play. So, I mean, if that's on the second power play, good for him. But it was John Carlson before. That's why I was wondering if he just came in and took the John Carlson role. But still, I mean, he's 4 power play points on the second power play. I think there's a very realistic chance with OV gone that him and Chikrin are on that first one next year. Like, I don't think that's reasonable to assume. But he's producing 5-on-5. He's producing in the power play. He's getting lots of ice time. And they like him. Like they brought him in and have been a different team since he's joined them, much like Martone, which is why I'm a big fan of him, because the organization can clearly see this guy playing and this guy playing a lot wins hockey games for us, and he can do it. Both these guys are 19 years old. Both of them are going to be playing their first full season in the NHL. I actually think Hudson's going to end up playing enough games to not be considered a rookie technically. But Martone will, and I think both of them are going to be massive. I think Martone 65 points next year, and I think Hudson could easily have 45 as a defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, it'll depend on how much they play him.
But like
especially if they bump him to power play one.
This makes me even more excited because he's producing half his points on the second power play. Actually, he has 1 power play goal, 4 power play assists. So he has 5 power play points out of his 8, and he's on PP2.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, the way they and actually he could low-key be PP. Like,
that's what I'm
OV
saying.
Retires,
okay, you clearly were zoned out because I said word for word, he feels like the most obvious OV replacement. Like they run 2 defensemen, him and Chikrin. I think is very likely on their second power play. You're clearly queuing up for your next guy, so that's all good. But yeah, I've been rambling for far too long. That's all I got to say on Hudson.
Okay, I'll stick on the same team in Washington, and we'll go back to the 6'6" menace, Ilya Protas, for my second one. He's a guy that we talk about him doing all the things like around the rink correctly, but not necessarily producing at that level. But let me tell you,
I didn't say he couldn't produce for the record. I just said, yes, you're right. Continue.
He's not as elite at that. Yes, I understand.
Yes,
but he's the guy that in the AHL this year has 62 points in 66 games. He's about a 30-goal guy. Last year, he cooked in Windsor, obviously, in the OHL with 124 points, 50 goals in 60 games. Not too shabby. But I love a guy like this, me personally. The guy that gets the intangibles right. Like, if you get the intangibles right, and then you get ice time, and the coaches believe in you, that's just points waiting to happen. And you know, he's got a point in 1 game so far. Obviously not a huge sample size for him, but they're playing him on the second line. Don't know if that's going to stay, but if it does stick going into next season, that's just nasty. That's nasty, and I love the upside, especially for fantasy hits and points. Big fan
for sure. I mean, on a more philosophical level, I generally disagree with you on the like wanting guys to get intangibles. When it comes to fantasy, especially a points league, I'm like, give me the guy who has the most upside to score, is going to be put in every situation to score, and is basically on the team to only score. I prefer those guys because those guys have the potential to get me 100 points in the season. Like Ilya Protas is never going to get 100 points in the season. I mean, I could be wrong. That could go down as one of the best pre-edit clips of all time when he gets 100 points. But I don't see it. Like, I just don't see that type of player getting 100 points. Like, he just isn't committed enough to offense, to be quite frank, to get 100 points. So not disagreeing with, I 100% agree with everything you said on him. This is just my opinion. I prefer going to get the guy that is like Alexander Ovechkin, where he gets 100% offensive zone start time. Like where he literally he started his first shift last week in the defensive zone. They asked him about it and he said, give me the Selke.
Yeah.
Like I want the guy that gets an 100% zone start time because that's where you score goals. Personally, well, that's obviously where we differ. You're entirely entitled to your own opinion, but I mostly just want to disagree with that. I didn't disagree with anything you said about Pro.
No, I think he's gonna be disgusting. Honestly, the more I look at him, the more I'm like, holy, let me go trade.
Go get him.
Right now. I'm going to. That's my plan. I just got to wait for people to get kicked out of the playoffs so that they'll actually trade with me. But
there's only 2 teams left in the playoffs, dog.
Let's keep going.
The final guy that I have is Easton Cowan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I feel like Antonio's looking at me because a few episodes ago I really shit on him for being a homer, and this has the potential to be a homer take here. However, Easton Cowan, after he scored again tonight, in his last 5 games, he has 6 points in his last 5 games. Obviously, that's a whatever. But that time frame is when he's been boosted into the top 6. Like he was playing 10 games ago, he played 12 minutes. 9 games ago, he played 13 minutes. Since then, 17, 19, 18, 19, 18, 20, 18. Or 1854, so basically 19. Since then, he's been elevated to the top 6 with Tavares and with Nylander, and he's been producing. Obviously, he's with good line mates, but I would say watching it that it ain't Nylander who's driving it. Nylander has been checked out since fucking February. It's Tavares and Cowan who are doing all the work to make that line produce. I really like what I'm seeing out of him. Also, to kind of fit Antonio's build, he gets a surprising amount of hits. Like he's played 63 games and he has 79 hits. But since he's been boosted into that top 6, like he's recorded a hit in every single one of his last 10 games. He's recording a block in every other game. Like being as small as he is, gets surprising other stats in there, not just points. But I think a full year in the top 6, a full year where he's as of right now, the number one him and Matthew Knies are number 1 and number 2 priorities in the entire organization. He's an offense first guy. I think very realistically, we could see 40 to 50 points of him next year after a full season. And I think that's someone that I'm looking to watch. I'm also going to throw one more honorable mention in there quickly is Matt Vagreden of the Calgary Flames. Through 34 games, he has 6 goals, 18 points this season. However, in his last 14 games, he has 2 goals and 9 assists for 11 points in his last 14 games. He's been doing really well. Much like Cowan saw that addition to the top 6. He's playing top 6 and second power play time, and he's on a Calgary team. He was their first round pick in 2024, one of them. He's on a Calgary team that needs him to develop, that's going to prioritize his development. And so I expect to see him back in the top 6 next year. And much like Cowan, 40 to 50 is very, very realistic with a full season under his belt.
All right, I'm gonna add another
season in the top 6. And I just feel I need to clarify because Cowan's played a full year.
Okay.
So I can't say full year.
Okay. I'll add in another guy that I think is gonna get around 50 points next year, maybe 60. And it's okay, you're gonna call me a homer. James Hagens.
No, this is not a homer. He's one of the best prospects in hockey right now. I'm not an idiot.
Okay. Well, I didn't need to bring him up.
It would be like if you put Dean Letourneau there. That's when I'd be like, all right, buddy.
Okay, not for next year. Wait another year.
All right. Anyway, keep her moving.
Yes, James Hagens. This year, honestly, I wouldn't take his production for the last 3 games of the regular season here and whatever he does in the playoffs to heart, if I'm honest. They're bringing him up early. Like I've said, they're going to play him in a third line role, I feel like. Coming in, like I could be wrong. They could bring him in and play on the first line, but that doesn't seem like what Sturm is saying. Seems like he's going to come in and play on the third line, try and boost that bottom 6. So because of that, he's not going to get a lot of usage. But going into next season, he will be a first line player, guaranteed. Guaranteed he's going to be first line unless for some reason we somehow pick up like a Robert Thomas in the offseason unseeingly, and then he becomes our 2C.
He isn't. I mean, if you pick up Robert Thomas, he's going the other way.
No, we won't give up Hagens.
Then you're not. I'm telling you, okay, fair, but you won't get Robert Thomas. That's what I'm saying. Like to your point, he's going to be your 1C because the only guy who would be playing 1C over him is whoever the fuck you would trade him for.
Yeah, okay, but I don't. I think he's untouchable. I don't think we're going to move him.
No, fair. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm more saying like there's nobody in that organization who's going to be 1C over him, and there's nobody you're going to go sign or trade for that would cost less than him that would play over him.
Okay. Let's not be nitpicky. I'm saying with it without like unforeseen.
I'm actually glazing you. I'm actually saying like he's your 1C. Like just expect him to be the Bruins 1C and let's move forward with that expectation.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a guy if he's playing with Pastrnak, not out of the realm of possibilities that he's like another guy that's going to put up north of 60. Probably going to be closer to 50.
He
but
definitely could
not
have
out of the realm of possibility. He goes up to 60. Could see him be like a geeky where like he scores more goals than you expect him to. Not necessarily known for it, but like he's known as like a secondary scorer on the line. So with Pastrnak being the playmaker he is.
Yeah, but see, Pastrnak hasn't played with a James Hagens level playmaker since Marchand. Like I would actually argue that Pasta goes like next year's his best chance to score 40, 50 again because he finally doesn't have to be the far and away most talented player on his line. Like I would say,
yes
because who's going to be the number 1 scoring guy? Like why wouldn't it be Pastrnak? Like if Hagens was able to feed him for that 1T that he has all the time when he was in his prime, you know, like when he was in his mid 20s, like that 1T where he gets down on one knee, like Hagens can feed him for that. Hagens can feed him for that on the power play. Like I don't know. I see Hagens if like having like a 12 goal, like 50 point or 50 12 goal 50 point season like that, and Pasta have a like 50-50, something like that.
That's crazy. I don't know about. I mean, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's just
I very much think
I haven't seen Pasta play like that in a while, so it's going to take a little for me to move.
Like fair, but keep in mind you literally had Marchand last year. Like I bet he did. He wasn't. I bet you.
Dude, no, last year he wasn't. Like I saw that one time out of him. I maybe like he scored off it like maybe 5 times last year, maybe.
Yeah, where is he on your team?
He might just be riding the pine.
I don't even know where he is. Oh, there he is. He had 43 goals last year, dog. Like,
yeah, no, like he still scored, but like it was more so like breakaways. Like whenever he was entering,
fair. But I'm saying he has finally a Marchand level line mate who can feed him to score 40, 61, 47, 43. Like, I see that more than him having another 70 assist season. I think this year that's how he had to play to be his best and be the best for the team. If Hagens comes in and is what everyone expects him to be, he does not have to be that next year.
I still think that they're gonna have him as like he's still like a better skater than Hagens is right now. So he's gonna be entering with the puck.
Well, yeah, he's a better player than Hagens, sure. But like you can just because you're the guy who carries the puck in the zone doesn't mean you don't have to score off the rush. Like you don't have to score on that zone entry. You can set up and then score.
I could see Hagens being a better version of what Geeky has been for us.
I don't know. Hagens has never scored goals. Pastrnak has scored 61 in the NHL. Hagens has never been a goals first player. Pastrnak scored 61 in the NHL. I don't know why you feel they're both just going to flip what they normally are because they play together. Like, in fact, if anything, you get a primary playmaking center and you have one of the best scoring wingers of the last decade. Why is your immediate assumption not Pasta for the Rocket? That if I was a Bruins fan, I would be pushing Pasta for the Rocket so hard because I'd be so excited about what Hagens and Pasta on a line together could do.
I don't know. I've watched clips of Hagens and like recently, like playing in college, playing in the AHL.
But that's where he's the best player and needs to go out there in college and needs to be the one scoring goals. Like he's not going to be the best player. He's going to naturally want to dish the puck because he's a 19-year-old debuting in the NHL. He's likely going to be in a line with David Pastrnak. Like he's going to want to give the puck to him, and Pasta's going to give it to him, and he's going to be like, "Where are you?" Because I'm looking to give it back to you.
I guess I could see it go either way, but I'm just saying, like I think that people underrate what Hagens can do goal scoring wise.
I don't even care what he can do goal scoring wise. Fair, we're repeating our things, but one last thing, I don't even care what he can do goal scoring wise, what he has for a shot. I just think with his playmaking ability and him playing with David Pastrnak, expected to play with David Pastrnak, I just don't see a world where he isn't just fuck it Pastrnak down there somewhere like a quarterback. Like that's just, I feel like he's going to be looking for him all over the ice. Much like Marner or Domi would just stare at Matthews.
I feel like the systems have been changed, but we shall see what happens next year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know what time it is? That's right. It's time for the panic room. And would you like to get us started off, or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll go first. All right. So I kind of teased this way back kind of towards the start of the episode when I was talking about Ron Francis briefly, and I was kind of saying how I'd be comfortable selling anyone on the Kraken. That includes my panic room player, Matty Beniers. This is a more overall panic room thing. He's not fantasy relevant. I'm so confident he's not fantasy relevant. I'm not even bothering to pull up his stats. This has nothing to do with what he's doing for fantasy and is more of a conversation around what are your thoughts on Matty Beniers and where he should be standing in the Seattle Kraken organization? Because I personally think he's peaked to show he's a solid 2C who's a good two-way guy. He's never going to be a 1C. He's not good enough to be an elite second center offensively, but he's really good defensively. He could get you 50 points pretty consistently, and he's a great defensive center. And that's totally valuable, especially at $7 million, I think, which is what he signed for pretty long term. Like it's a relatively movable contract. I just think for the Kraken, there's no point in holding a guy like that. Like I think they are nowhere close to winning a cup. I think they still have to bottom out. They have yet to bottom out at this point because they just keep holding all their guys. And I thought they could have bottomed out in 2021 or 2022 when they joined the league. But I'm totally comfortable trading Beniers if I'm the Kraken organization. I think you could get probably 2 first-round picks is the return for him, or a first and a like prospect who's about to play. And I think they have a really young, nice nucleus of 19 to 21-year-olds of Catton and Furcus and Sale and Neiman and a few others that I would rather them play and kind of develop as you're adding more prospects via the draft than continuing to play Matty Beniers when you know what he is. And I don't really see a world where he gets much better than this because he's had ample opportunity to be better than this.
Yeah, I guess the issue is like you don't want to trade a guy that you know can play top 6 minutes like that. That's still like young if you're this team. But like I would trade Chandler Stevenson, Jaden Schwartz or Everly over him like
for sure
10 out of 10 times. But I do like that if you get rid of Beniers, you can just jump Catton up to the first line and just try to develop.
But that's my point is that like you know what Beniers is. Sure, he's 23, but like if you look at his stats, like excluding that first year he played 10 games, 57 and 80, 37 and 77, 43 and 82, 47 and 78. He's a 60 to 40 point player.
Jumps off the page.
He's a 60 to 40 point player who's maxed out at a 24 goal season, which was in his rookie year. Everything has been the best in his rookie year. I just am like, I know what he is. Sure, you're giving up a 23-year-old center 2C who's like, he's a top 6 guy, but that's why I am comfortable giving up because I know what he is. You're going to get a lot for him because of all the reasons we outlined prior.
Yeah.
And so I think for the Seattle, it's better to get those futures, to get the 19, 18-year-old prospects than it is to continue to have him play because their window is like 3 or 4 years or like 5 or 6 or 7 years from now.
Yeah, but he can still develop. I don't know. I like the idea of it. I just think for where they are as an organization, selling a 23-year-old center who you can see playing top 6 minutes long term and you have him signed for a while.
I think you could convince some dumb GM to give you like you could go to Detroit and get Detroit desperate enough to be like, here's your 2C behind Larkin. Give us Plant, Carter Bear, a first and a second. And Detroit would be like for all the reasons you outlined why Seattle shouldn't trade him, Detroit would be like, why wouldn't we want to bring that into our organization for a bunch of pieces that aren't playing? But I think value-wise, Seattle makes it like gangbusters in that type of trade.
So you're suggesting that they really just are terrible next year, like Canucks.
That's what I would do. I think if I was Seattle and you let me be the GM, I would have been terrible 3 years ago. Like I would have sold every single player they had 3 years ago and just accepted that you were going to be really bad. Obviously, it's hard as a new franchise, but I feel like they've been around enough. And I also think they got like the Cattons and the Shane Wright, who I wouldn't trade for the record. I mean, Vince Dunn, you're probably not moving now. So like you have some players that like they're still there to keep the fans interested. But like I think fans would understand, they've probably been around hockey enough in Seattle to understand that this core ain't winning it. And the way to win it is to get really bad and then get really good.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't.
And you have Shane Wright and Catton. Like you have Shane Wright and Catton who are immediate, and Chandler Stevenson, who's like that's your 1, 2, 3.
I would just play Shane on the wing though. Like for that, like by that standard, like Shane Wright's only got 26 points this year. He's 22.
You know what? You know what? Sure. Okay. My point. Yeah, but he was taken 4th overall. Beniers taken 2nd overall. Yeah, sure. I don't think Shane Wright's that good either. I think their whole team is mid. I don't think anyone on their team in the combination on the Seattle Kraken is going to win them a cup, which is why I said I'm comfortable trading all 12, all 6, all 2. Like there's not a player other than Berkeley Catton who's playing on their roster right now that I wouldn't be comfortable trading. Like I don't think any single one of them. I don't think any single one of them are good enough to be like they're untouchable. And in fact, I think most of them you should be actively looking to trade because you just bought at the deadline and are going to pick top 5. Think about how bad you have to be to think, and how poor of a like overall organizational standpoint view you have of yourself that you thought buying at the deadline was going to lead to the most success and you ended up picking top 5.
I think it's front office genocide if you make those moves. Like I think you're just guaranteeing you're gonna get fired, which for those reasons I don't think they'll do it. And also, I think if we're
but they have someone new. They're gonna have
let me
someone new
finish.
coming in. Okay, fair.
If we're sitting here next season and Catton's like just under point per game playing first line center, and you drop Beniers and Stevenson both one line, all of a sudden those lines don't look that awful. And say like be subbing Shane Wright and Eberle's gone or something.
Fair. That's an extraordinarily large ask at a Berkeley Catton, who was like a 10th overall pick and has not been that good at any other level. Like he's been good, but he's not been like 100. Like he's not. What did you say he was going to get? Like point per game in the NHL?
Just under point per game in the NHL. Yeah, he had 109 points last year in the WHL.
Yeah, but like the WHL is the freest. Like, go look at the scores. Like the league leaders have like 130 points.
Yeah,
in the WHL, like it's absurd.
25-point pace.
But like he's played 61 games and he has 16 points. Like I don't
need to take a jump. You would need to take a jump. I agree, but I'm saying
this isn't even about Catton. I'm a believer in Catton. My point is just I think the Kraken are going to be sitting here in 3 years' time and being like, man, we don't really want Beniers. Who wants Beniers? And you get like a first for him. And I think you could get significantly more from him for that right now. And I really don't think you're giving up anything. Obviously, this is like my personal opinion and viewpoint on him as a player, but I think 4 or 5 years is far enough of a sample size for me to believe this is what he is and this is who he is. And I think the Kraken are so far, like I would say the Kraken are in one of the worst spots in the entire NHL.
I agree with that.
Because they're nowhere near winning a cup.
I just think you're pulling the alarm a little too quick on a 23.
But like, why do you think the Leafs were shopping Nyes? Because that's the guy that you can get the best return for. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you view he's the organizational piece, but I would rather 2 first-round picks and a prospect than Beniers. Or I don't know. You probably wouldn't get that much for Beniers, but like, I just think the futures Beniers can get you is more valuable to the organization right now, especially when you even admit they're nowhere close to winning a cup.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's move on to the next one. Who's your panic room guy? We spent more than enough time on Beniers.
Okay. We didn't even do ratings on him, but whatever. Fuck it.
It was a different one though. It was more of a like NHL viewpoint on him rather than fantasy.
I mean, because we're at the end of the year, it's kind of the same for Weegar. It's just kind of like, where do you value him going into next year? This is a guy that, okay, yeah. My panic room player is Mackenzie Weegar, if it's not blatantly clear by me saying on Weegar. But since coming to Utah, 4 points in 14 games, he had 21 and 60 with the Flames before that. Like, I guess my question is like how you value him next year, like in the draft.
He's a guy that I'm comfortable taking in the late, like very end of the draft. I think Sergachev is very clearly the one there. I think he runs power play 1. I don't think that's going to change next year.
Yeah.
I think Sergachev is better at it than he is also.
I just think that Weegar has so much name value that there's no way that I'm trying to pick him unless he's like really false.
But like, see, my point is if he is playing 22 minutes a night for Utah next year, I'm totally comfortable with that being a roster defenseman because I think he could very much have 40 points next year. The majority of it, or not 40, he could very much have 35, 40 points. And when he has the blocks and hits that he gets, if he's able to produce 30 to 40 points, which is very realistic 5-on-5 on that team, that's going to be better next year, which is why I'm totally comfortable taking him as like my, like if you have 4 defensemen as like my 5th depth defenseman, or maybe my 4th defenseman, like as the very end defenseman, I'm totally comfortable taking him. And I think that's where his ADP is going to be. Like he's not been that good this year for fantasy since going to Utah. That's why he's here.
I guess my issue is like anytime you're a defenseman and you're not PP1, it's automatically going to be harder to produce points.
For sure, but that's why he's a depth guy.
Even at Calgary as the PP1 guy.
He wasn't though. It was Rasmus Andersson for most of the year. He had it for like
Anderson,
he got traded in like November, and then he had it for like 2 months. Does he had it for like December, January?
And in January, he literally.
Did you see? He was playing with Michael Backlund and like Nazem Kadri, dude. He was playing with third liners. Like, sure, that Calgary team was dog shit. I don't really care what he's done with that. If you look at him as in the history of his career, he's been a very solid fantasy defenseman in the exact same role he's going to have in Utah. He's never really been a power play 1 guy. He's never really been a power play defenseman in general. He's a guy that gets 30 to 40 points 5-on-5 and is like 200 hits and like 150 blocks every year. Like he fills out all the box scores. And I think playing that much time on a really good team like Utah next year, who's going to be one of the better teams in the league again, and like Cooley's going to take a step. I think Gunther has another gear in him.
No, I think the team's going to be great. I think the team's
I know,
going to
but
be
that's
great.
what I'm saying. If you're playing 22 minutes a night with Mikhail Sergachev on the first pairing, I don't care whether you're playing on the power play, you're going to get enough points with the peripherals he brings to be a completely fine, like fourth fantasy defenseman on your team, fourth or fifth fantasy defenseman on your team.
Okay, so it's like, okay, I
He's
guess we
a-
won't do a rating, but so where are
But,
you
like,
looking for ADP wise? Where you think he's going to fall?
Like probably
Like
in the like
300?
150 to 170 range, probably. Which is like rounds, which is on average rounds like 14, like 14, 15, 16, 17, which is like the very end of the draft.
Yeah.
Most time it's like 180 players drafted in most drafts, like depending on how many teams, like on average in most fantasy drafts, like 180. And like, I think he goes kind of in like the 160 range, and I'm totally fine taking him there. Mostly because like the guys who go in that range are like Mikael Granlund, like Lawson Krause, like Ryan O'Reilly. Like, are you
I
really
feel like
saying
I'd prefer to take a guy like a Hudson or a Yakimchuk over him in that range?
sure, but I don't think Hudson will be that low. Hudson will be way higher than that.
Yakimchuk.
I wouldn't take Yakimchuk because he's the same. Sanderson's gonna run PP1 and Shabbat like is probably PP, like maybe. I would rather Weegar over Yakimchuk for next year. I would obviously rather Hudson by a mile over him, but I think there's way too many question marks around Yakimchuk, and we have no idea what his role is.
I think
or going to be.
I think he will be PP2.
He's both kind of. He's like Heiskin. But anyway, that's not even the point. I'm totally comfortable taking Weegar as a depth defenseman. I think he has the same role he had in Calgary when Calgary was good on Utah now. I just think he needs to settle into it. I think a full offseason to settle in. I think a team getting better, and I think him consistently playing with Sergachev on that first pairing, he'll be totally fine.
Let's get into the next section. It is sorry for the technical issues there. I don't know what's happening with StreamYard right now. It's done that twice today already. Just being real goofy. But we are in What's on Your Mind, last section of the night. Benjamin, do you have anything on your mind?
I do have actually something on my mind, and it is more of a hypothetical and probably something that never would happen, but maybe a little bit of interesting debate is, could we ever see a situation where an NHL team forces a college player onto their roster midseason after seeing with the success of Martone and Cole Hudson this season, and there being other players like McCarr, Matthew Nyes, Cole Caulfield, who have stepped in and made immediate impacts for their team? Do you think there's ever a world where they just pull him out of college and say, you're coming to play? Because like theoretically they own his rights, and like obviously he has to agree to the contract, but like they very much just could sign him to the ELC in the middle of the year if they wanted to.
Yeah, I can't lie. I feel like I would have seen this earlier on, but now with NIL, like especially if you're like a top prospect that they would want to pull out of college, like they're making millions of dollars off of NIL.
No, not that much.
Okay.
Only footballs like that.
700,000 is kind of like
no, not that much either.
That's what
they
McKenna's
make.
making.
Like McKenna, yeah, and like no one else sniffs McKenna.
Okay,
like they're
but
not
like going
that
forward.
much.
They will. It'll just keep increasing.
Like you got it. Are you watching it? Do you watch college hockey?
NIL just came in.
I know, but my point is they need eyeballs to get more NIL money, and like we ain't even watching it, and we're diehard hockey fans, and we're not alone in that feeling. And so until the eyeballs come, American. The NIL won't go up.
We're also not American. Like people like
yes, no, but I watch college. We watch college basketball. We watch March Madness. I watch college football all the time. I know you don't, but like, there are so many people here who watch college football and March Madness, and nobody talks about the NCAA for hockey.
Yeah, well, they're trying to expand that. McKenna is helping with that. But
yes,
again, I'll say with NIL, I don't think it happens because they're making money down there.
Yeah,
like it's not the same as an ELC, but they also want to have the college experience. Like there's not a lot of players that like unless you're gonna come up and play first or second line.
Well, yeah, it would only be one of those players for the record. Like Hudson came up and he immediately played top 4, and Martone came up and played top 6. Like it would be only for that role, but I don't know. I just feel like I think someone does it in the next 5 years. I think the team says, like, screw it, like, we need you earlier. And, like, I mean, obviously their college team would have to kind of be out of it first. I think that would have to be the start.
Well,
like, they'd have to be on a
and
bad college team.
You also need to be a pretty bad team to have a prospect that level. And so I guess it would have to be
not necessarily, though. Like, look at Cole Hudson. Like, that Washington won the division last year, and they had him ready to go, and they already owned his rights by that point next year. Like, there are teams who's, and like when Nyes came up and McCarr came up and Caulfield came up, like all those teams were in the playoffs when they came up. You know, I think we can see it. I don't disagree with you. The college experience is a big thing, and the fact they're getting money, all reasons to not do it. I don't even actually 100% know if the rules allow for it, but I just think I think hot take it could happen one time in the next 5 years.
I could see it. I think NIL makes it really
fair. All right. You got anything on your mind, Antonio? Because that's all for me.
I have been thinking about this for like a week now. We haven't fit into a segment yet, but I've been thinking about it for a while. NHL retro games. This was actually sparked from watching the Avs wear the Nordiques jerseys, I'd like to say. I don't remember who they were playing, but they looked sick as per usual. But could we see these NHL retro games played in the original cities? For instance, the Nordiques be played in Quebec, the Whalers be played in Hartford. I think it would be electric to bring those communities more into the NHL realm, and I think that would pull in more money. Like, it's a revenue driver for the NHL to keep those communities interested. And then you could also gauge interest to see if it's viable to bring a team back there, more so for the Nordiques, because I would love to see the Nordiques come back. But it gauges interest, invigorates those communities into the hockey world. And I think you could get it done with what's it called? If you just basically pay the team, like, say we're talking about the Avs. We'll use the Avs as an example. I think they get the television revenue, but the team that's like the city that's hosting gets the ticket revenue. And then I think both sides probably agree to it. And like ticket sales go to the team. Because obviously, jersey sales go to the team. Because obviously there's going to be new jerseys, and that's going to drive in revenue. But I think it's a big revenue driver. I think it'd be huge for the NHL to do it. I just don't know whether Bettman would be willing to do it.
I think, to put it simply, Bettman would be totally okay with it. I think the fans would love it. I think that's an extraordinarily cool idea. To put it simply, the owners who have all the power would just never let it happen. The owners would be too greedy to give away one of their 41 home games a year to another site, unless it's forced on them like the Global Series. The owners would have to sign off on being like, yeah, we're totally fine with that. And like, the owners are the greediest bastards on the planet. Like, they're simply would never agree to that, because they're going to be like, why would I give up a ticket revenue for a game when I could say no to this and just get the ticket revenue myself?
Because the television revenue is higher than the ticket revenue.
I get that, but
and
I think nothing else. They get nothing else.
Jersey revenue and
cool.
Jersey revenue.
You get that if you host a game too. You get nothing by just losing a home game.
Okay,
you get the same amount of TV deals. You get the same amount of merchandise sales. You give up concession sales. You give up ticket sales. You give up parking tickets, like parking sales. You give up a whole whack load of crap that the owner would never agree to.
I think it would drive up views.
Antonio, I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. I'm saying the owner would never agree to it because the owner loses money.
For the owners, I'm giving you reasons for the owners. I also think it drives up jersey sales, which gives them a lot more money as well. And it's something interesting.
Guess what? They can make the same jersey and play at Ball Arena and still make a ton because people go buy the jersey anyway. Do you have a Bruins alternate jersey?
Yeah.
Do I have a Leafs alternate jersey?
Yeah,
yes.
You do.
And they play at the same arena our entire lives. Antonio, I'm not disagreeing with you. I said Bettman would say yes. The fans would say yes. I said everything except the owners would be totally on board with this, except the owners have no reason to just give up one of their home games and lose out on money for no reason. And so they'd never agree to it. The only way you could do it is, Bettman would never do that because he can't piss off the owners because he's basically the owner's bitch. That's how the commissioner works. The owners run the league. And so the only way it happens is if the site who hosts it says, we won't make any money out of it. We just want all the attention on us. That's the only way they'd agree to it, is that the Avs owner makes, well, we're just using them as hypothetical, makes the same amount of money whether they're hosting it at their arena or at this other arena, but the other arena gets all the attention for the game being there and being played on that site, but the owners one of the Avs makes all the money still. That's the only way I think it gets signed off on, because there's no incentive for the owner to just say, fuck it, let's give up one game just because I'm going to be a nice guy. You don't become a billionaire by being a nice guy.
I think it's very much like the Winter Classic. Like, do you think the Bruins make money off of it going to Fenway? No, Fenway gets the money.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They get all the money. The Bruins and
sales?
Yeah. The Bruins and Fenway come to an agreement and they get all the money. The NHL gets all the money. They're NHL tickets, not MLB tickets. The owner of the Red Sox has no say. They pay a bit. They pay for the venue. They pay for the venue. That's it, though. Everything else, the ticket sales, they goes to the NHL and the Bruins.
Okay, well, I
tickets,
guess
the merchandise sale.
And then you also get parking.
You could do that. That's basically what I was saying. Like, the owners just get all the money still, and the site just agrees to have it played there for free, basically.
Yeah.
That's the only way it would work. Everything other than that, I think is an unreal idea. Yeah, I agree with you.
And then even like a cool idea to kind of branch off of it, instead of looking at it as like a retro, you could do like a future-esque like tester, almost like, how we had the issue with Utah not knowing what their logo was? You could have it so that like you could go to.
No, that's too far. Just stick with the throwbacks. Houston. The throwbacks was it. Okay. The throwbacks was it.
I feel like you go to Houston and test out a New Jersey and be like, what do you guys think about this team?
Yeah, but also like I don't know that Houston, like, I guess you'd have to build it ahead of time, but like, no, I know, but I'm saying like, I don't think right now Houston has the infrastructure to host an NHL game. Is more my point.
Yeah, that's
because like they don't have a basketball. I guess actually they could play it at the Rockets, but like it would take a lot of work within the Rockets stadium to make it work.
That's true.
But yes, I think if you stick with the retro idea where they're playing at like older cities, like they go back in Quebec or Hartford, or like where the North Stars played or something like that, I think is a really cool idea.
Ooh, that would be cool. I didn't even think of that. You could go back to like Maple Leaf Garden.
Yeah. Well, it's not anymore. It's a grocery store now, unfortunately. But yeah, I know. If the Forum was still around too, that would be sick.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like most of them are gone except for the
most.
That also might be an issue. Is I don't know if the stadiums are all around, but
Hartford has the ability to like host a game because I'm pretty sure they've an East Coast team, so like you could make it work there.
Anyway, that's all I got. I don't know. I think it would be electric. I would definitely try and go to one of those games, or like if it was like one of those futuresque ones, like if they bring a team to Hamilton, the Hamilton Tigers, I'd be like, oh my god,
definitely. That's not a bad idea. I mean, the matchup would probably be irrelevant, but putting a game in a city that's about to get an NHL team, or like using that as a determinant, like as part of the fact like you play a game in Hamilton, Houston. I'm trying to think of the others, like Atlanta, I think is another one that's in there. Like you play Hamilton, like you play a bunch of games there, and then like that also somewhat affects how you get the team. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, it comes down to money and who's going to pay the most to get the team, unfortunately. Yeah. But would be cool to kind of take that into account.
Yeah, and it also gets like the cities involved. Like if the city sees that it does well and it sells, they're much more likely to put a better bid for it.
Yes, exactly, and able to convince investors, hey, look at this. Like we had the one game, and look at the eyeballs we got.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think we've come to the conclusion of this one. Thank you all for joining us if you're still with us at this point. Again, if you want more frequent content, go see us at Fantasy Hockey Pucks on Instagram or FHP_pod on TikTok. We're also on YouTube at the Fantasy Hockey Pucks. And yeah, I look forward to having more content come out soon. I believe we will be having some YouTube videos come out in the next
I was gonna say in about a month. I was gonna say about a month. In about a month, we're gonna be consistently posting on YouTube. That's kind of the FHP summer plan, is obviously keeping up with the TikTok and Instagram and the podcast, covering the playoffs into the summer content, but like really trying to build up that YouTube. So watch out for YouTube at Fantasy Hockey Pucks. Gonna be a lot of interesting content, obviously hockey related, but even some non-hockey related. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
All right. We'll see you guys all on Monday. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you the next time we drop the puck. Have a good one, everybody.